Boom. All right. Hopefully you're having a good week so far.
Not too bad.
Do we want to do the co-broadcast?
Yeah, I'm still getting shit set up. Hold on.
Me too. Podcast talk show. Okay. Huzzah. Oh, yes. Oh, yay. Obey. All right. Jingo has joined us, Clay. It's after 5. It's 5:01.
Oh, let's get started.
Well, I have. I did get the days of the year. Today is National Junk Food Day, National Lemington Day, Tea Treat, usually an April Fool's Day in Australia. I've had it. It's okay. It's National Legal Drinking Day. Okay.
All right, I have sent you the invite. Did you get it?
Take a Monkey to Lunch Day. Yes. Must collaborate. How do I accept it again?
You did. There we go. You're going.
Huzzah.
And
Whoa, I got
my camera's not on yet. I am slack-a-lacking. Give me a second here.
I got an echo. There you are. There, that's
mute
better.
everything. Mute everything in the shared chat thing. All the buttons at the bottom. Mute that.
Mute audio. Okay, there we go. Say something.
Something.
It worked with something. Something. All right.
All right. This is the 78th meeting of the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. I am Rob Marsden, Jingo the Fool, the King of Fools, Game Master at Large over at the Ship of Fools, and General Ass. And with me today, over I hope I'm pointing in the right direction.
This one.
Tell us about yourself.
Hello.
Next contestant.
Hello, my name is Bill Kelly. I am Hornswoggle the Great. I am the peasant hero, king of the bridge trolls. They answer to me, idiot savant, and all-around good guy. Even though that's usually Ron's title. Clay will be joining us soon. Hopefully Guy has time to log on tonight. Rob the Blacksmith will be running behind. Time with grandkids, well spent. Chris, hopefully, he's been writing a whole lot. And we've been steampunking like crazy. Now, check this one out. Haven't even had time to put the matte finish on this one yet.
Very nice. Has a very anime look to it.
It really does. It looks Shadowrun. Clay did this one. Oops. We'll take care of that. Oh, yeah. Okay, gearing up for the thing next month. I think it's in a week or two at 19th Avenue and Bell. Gamers I went to Jars to, keep my sanity. And, say, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm making steampunk guns and doing other stuff. What are you doing that for? Oh, well, once a month that Gamers Outpost. Oh, yeah, they have that. I'm like, okay, the guy selling me weed knows more about it than I do. Right on. That's what I like.
You're on the right track.
If strangers are pointing you without you asking, yes. Hopefully. Had a good job interview today. Awesome neighbor Julio and his wife have been really helping us out. They're moving back to Puerto Rico in September, so that helping them do that. We got to help him sell his truck. But yeah,
What kind of truck?
I have to look at it again. Sorry. It's National Take a Monkey to Lunch Day.
Nobody took me to lunch today.
How do I get a monkey? National Be Someone
What do
Day.
monkeys even eat? National Be Someone.
Yeah, help kids that don't have anybody. Royal Welsh Show, invite an alien to live with you. World Collie Day, Festival British Archaeology, which, cool. The British have been conquered by everybody and still were able to keep their independence and their own reality. You got to give them that. Oh. Third Rock from the Sun. Still one of the best shows we've ever had on television. I think so. Yeah. Streaming together. I can't see me. Streaming no but. Clay. There he is. Streaming. Nothing more than.
So, what's on the agenda for tonight?
I had a good topic. I forgot that yesterday. It's been a stressful week. What else do we
Hopefully, it will improve starting now.
Oh, man. The three of us, yeah, we'll come up with a topic. No problem. I have not run out of Tesla shirts yet. Got one more for next week. This ends Turn Down for What, which was a song that was very popular. That's all I know.
I have the Fab Four.
I see that. Yeah. Clay's going casual.
Yeah, I was going with the grandpa shirt, kind of designed.
Keeping it classy.
So, one can hope, grandpahood, but not too soon.
Yeah, you gotta wait on that one. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah. Yeah.
We gotta talk. I met a girl. Uh-oh. Okay, let me teach you how to change diapers. The hospital. Yeah. The hospital will tell you that they can't have solid food. But the hospital are morons.
I once spent 6 days in the hospital being fed only by an IV drip.
Oh,
it was horrible. The worst side effect of that is because you're not allowed to eat or drink anything, just this shit going into your arm, it leaves an aftertaste in your mouth that reminded me of canned mushrooms. And it was such an unpleasant experience that to this day I can no longer eat mushrooms. And the smell of them, no, I can't.
The smell of canned mushrooms.
And I used to love them.
I went to a job interview for one job, and I'm pretty sure they hired me for a different job.
Hey, that works out.
Yeah.
That's how I got the job I got. My brother-in-law said, hey, they're hiring for rampers down at the airport. Rampers are the guys that put the bags on the plane.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, that looks like a perfectly shitty job that I would never want to do, but I need employment, so let me go look. And I found another job on the same website doing what I do, working in warehouses.
It worked out.
Logistics.
In 92, when we had the 122 for the first time, I was doing stucco on Terminal 2. And they gave us Continental's bagger office to have our lunch in and to take breaks in. And back then, those guys, they make pretty good money, and they're only outside when the plane is there, ready to land or take off. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's just horseplay and shenanigans in the office.
It is.
So, it's not a bad job.
I've been planeside watching them do it. It can be rough. You know, being up in that bag pit and having to sling bags while on your knees because it's not big enough to stand up in.
And you know how people pack. Those bags are super fucking heavy. Oh, wait, are we past 6 minutes so I can start swearing like it? Yes. Okay.
That's why I tell people, if you're going to fly, go to Ross and buy yourself some cheap-ass luggage. Because the people unloading those planes don't have time to be nice to your bag.
They want to, but they don't have, you're right. They
don't have time.
They don't have time. It's too rigid. Go, go, go. We got to get out.
Yes.
And these are all big people.
Especially if you're, buy fancy bags. They tend to want to, beat those up.
Shit happens. But for the most part, they don't want to be out in the heat any more than they have to, so they get your shit onto the little cart thing and they get it the hell out of there to get onto the other plane or get it to the terminal. Because it's just... Oh, go ahead.
I was to say, on today's date, in 1865, in Springfield's Market Square in Missouri, Wild Bill Hickok shoots and kills Davis Tutt in what is regarded as the first true Western showdown.
He shouldn't have been wearing his watch after Bill told him not to. That's the backstory for that one.
Yes, take your word on it.
It's over a pocket watch. Well, we have heroes, so we expect them all to be hugely successful. The problem is that most of the people that are super famous all throughout time were really broke.
A lot of them, yes.
Van Gogh is unfortunately the greatest example of that. He didn't become popular until way after his death, and he died owing everybody he knew money.
Well, Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft both died poor.
Yep. Ulysses.
Robert E. Howard didn't die poor, but he did take his own life after the death of his mother, and probably dealing with severe alcoholism.
Yeah.
Why do the people with the greatest muses always, burn the brightest and then burn out?
It's the price of great art.
It's like the 27 theory. How many artists have died at 27?
Artists, actors, musicians. I forget who the first... Isn't Brian Jones, is it? Is he the first?
I'm looking it up here.
Because he's in the beginning. He's before Morrison and Joplin and Hendrix.
Yes, in 1969 and 71, Brian Jones, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison all died in the 2 years, all at 27. I'm looking to see who else might be.
James Dean. I think Sid Vicious, wasn't he?
Richie Valens, the Big Bopper. They were young.
I'm looking to see if there is a list.
Oh, there is.
Not seeing one. Oh, I bet there is.
There's one on Wiki. Oh, that's right. Amy Winehouse is in it, too. Wait, is Cobain?
Yes, Cobain is in it. Wow, Robert Johnson.
The first one. Robert Johnson. Blues artist. But there's rumors that he was murdered. Like Son House and Alec, or the first Sonny Boy and all the. There's so many.
Some of these are not big names. Pete Ham, founder of Badfinger.
Andrew Wood of Mother Love Bone. 24.
The artist Jean-Michel Basquiat passed away at 27.
Fly too close to the sun.
Yep.
Get burned.
I don't know what it is that makes them burn out. Better to burn out than fade away. According to the Kurgan and Def Leppard.
I got something to say. Brian Jones, Hendrix, Janice, Ron McKeon, Dave Alexander, Gary Thane, Pete Ham, Jacob Miller, Kurt Cobain, Christine Pfaff, Richie Edwards. I don't know her. Asian guy, I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, there were a lot of names on that list.
Yeah,
there was a time when I thought I wouldn't live that long. I was very self-destructive in my youth. Then I had kids.
That straightens you right out. Or you just keep being an asshole. It depends on you. Most people, it straightens right out.
Yeah, my late teens and 20s, I was there as well. Real self-destructive.
If I do get this job, we may or may not be changing to another night for the podcast. Because I'll be working 4/10s.
You let me know. What nights will you be working?
Monday through Thursday, I believe. So, well, we'll work around it. We'll see what happens. Or who knows? We'll figure it out. I love a good puzzle.
We'll find some way to fit it in. Anyways, have you remembered your topic?
No, not at all. But that's all right. I am watching documentaries on Traveler, and unfortunately, what Clay's been telling me about Warhammer 40K. The problem with any genre is you only have so many plots. So you have to mix and match until you find a new one that works and then run with that. But now I understand because of the Rolled All Ones, the guy that's narrating the... Hope you don't fall off the box off the thing. It's getting precariously close to the... Actually, it would, but right here. I don't want him to do that. I love him most. Hey! Welcome! Be hilarious.
But I'm always wildly entertained by watching cats do dumb shit.
I don't want him. I don't want him to do dumb shit. I don't mind if the others do. That cat's cooler than I am. I have to uphold his integrity. So, how are the grandkids?
The grandkids are well, thank you very much. Today was Natalie's follow-up, and she gets her braces off in September, so she is very excited.
Right on.
And even scarier note, she is going to be a freshman this year.
That is a scary note.
Yes. So I keep telling my son we need to invest now in a broken down old car so we can teach her how to fix it before she drives it.
I know where you can get one.
I should make her work on the Franken truck. That would be a good test for her.
I can use the help. Bring her over anytime.
Isabel would be the one that would dive into that with both feet.
You know where I live. Clay, I was showing off your sexy new Maverick to Jingo.
Oh, thank you. We got silver, and I wanted to do one silver and get it lacquered up and see what it looked like, because they all look slightly different after they get the lacquer on them. So I like making the sight ramp gold because, well, it looks cool.
Oh, the slide works?
Most of them will cock and fire, but whether or not, I mean, this sounds not like the others.
It looks like it was a Nerf gun.
That's exactly one of the Mavericks. There's
and the cylinder pops halfway out on those revolvers as well.
Oh, I have a whole bunch of ammo for that.
Oh, nice.
I have two Nerf Stormtrooper rifles.
Oh, right on.
Cool.
I want all the ones that don't work. I ask all people with kids, give me all your Nerf guns that don't work. What are you going to do with them? Turn them into steampunk guns and sell them online, of course. I still think the Maverick is the coolest looking one out of all of them. That's not to say the other ones don't look awesome.
It has a very Hellboy look.
It really does. I don't know who's calling me. Hold on, guys.
While he's gone, let's talk about him.
He'll be upset because he often has better things to say than we do about himself.
True.
So one of the things that I'm working on with those Mavericks is the cylinder. I'm trying to make them look like they're kind of, heat damaged a little bit, kind of burnished. So I'm working with craft paint, but that stuff is really, really flexible. And I'm using
crafty a
long
time ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Been cracking.
I'm using many painting techniques as well, so itty bitty teeny tiny details.
Yes, back when I could see, I was a decent miniature painter.
Back when I could see. Ooh, that one spins. Yay! Yeah. See, now this one would probably shoot a dart. This one, I don't think it would. Still looks awesome. Anyway, you were saying.
What was I saying?
I don't remember. We were talking about the 27 Club, and we were talking about death, and that kind of sucks because Cliff lost Yeti. He had to have him put down, and I reposted it, and everyone, I love him like he's my own dog, and he was
How old was he?
11, 12, and he was a
he
Alaskan
a pure breed?
Malmut.
Okay, 13 is a good age for pure breeds.
He was a great dog, but
dogs are unconditional love.
yes, the worst part of them is saying goodbye. Same with cats. The worst part of it is saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Then they then they become a box in the living room. Yay. Anyway.
Anyways, tell us about the cigar of the evening.
Oh, yes,
Rob.
please.
Tonight, we are enjoying a Lucky cigar. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that, but the brand is called Asylum.
Oh.
This particular one is Asylum 13.
Sounds fun.
So it is a rather nice cigar. This is this one is a, what do they call it? This one is a Corojo. So this is a large ring gauge. It's a nice medium blend. So it's got a light wrapper. It's got a nice medium, and I believe this one is Dominican leaf. So very smooth, easy draw, very consistent throughout. Asylum is one of those brands that comes out with some really great cigars, but they also love to leverage their name. This is the company that for at least a decade, I believe it is, has been making every year for Halloween.
Hey, welcome.
Classic movie monster labeled cigars. So one year they did the Mummy, and it came in a little pinch toe coffin. One year they did a Frankenstein. One year they did a Dracula. And so each year they have done specialty cigars, and each blend is a little bit different. And every so often, I'll go to a cigar store or one of the nicer lounges, and somebody will have a couple of old stock boxes of the cigars that they've had sitting there for years, and they tend to age very, very well. This is also the company that made the biggest cigar I've ever seen, and I kid you not, it was about that big in diameter. And it was made as a, from what I understand, it was made as a bet and a joke. And the guys at one of the cigar events saw it and said, "Oh, geez, we could sell these." So they put them out one year.
We could sell these to supervillains.
I bought one and gave it to my little brother, and he looked at it and he says, "Oh my God!" I said, "Yeah, I want to watch you smoke it. Light it up, buddy."
We're gonna smoke that whole thing.
Oh my God, that would kill me.
Yeah, that's too much. I would start throwing up. It's too much nicotine. I mean, I like nicotine, don't get me wrong, but that's too much.
Nicotine was a habit I never picked up. Caffeine is my,
I realized that I never really craved tobacco when I was all by myself. It was really a social thing, or when I was drinking.
I know a lot of people are like that. They don't smoke if they're not drinking.
Yeah. And being around a bunch of people. So, but I mean, eventually, I still like an occasional cigar. He still pushes cigars on me. I don't know. I feel like I haven't earned a cigar in a long time. And that's more personal, psychosomatic than anything else. You got to earn that cigar, pal. You got to work hard for it.
The idea for me with cigars has always been that it's a relaxing component, because if you're going to smoke a cigar, you're going to have to dedicate 30 to 45 minutes.
Keep going.
Relax. Enjoy. When Clay and I went to the Mana House, that was probably one of the greatest opportunities to share cigars and to see the veterans just light up. I brought an entire box. I set the box down. I gave them lighters and cutters, and I said,
and drugs.
"Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you as a thank you from all of us." And those veterans were just beside themselves. I mean, these are folks that are living in they're living in this shelter. They don't have anything but what they carried in and what they've been able to pull together.
Yeah.
So this was to the last one of them, this was an opportunity for them to, so many of them told me, to feel normal again. They all were smoking cigarettes and doing things. I said, "Folks, here you go. This is for you. This is to enjoy."
It's the good stuff.
Some of them smoked them that day. Some of them put it in their pocket, but that's why I left them the entire box. It was for them to give them a semblance of normalcy and just give them an opportunity to forget about everything else for 30 minutes and just to feel human again.
Mm.
It was a great experience.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. And I've been thinking of taking up smoking.
Now that you're 56, now's the time.
Can't start any younger.
Can't quit if you don't start. You know, that's what I'm telling you, P.
Sorry, hey, I'm no quitter.
There you go. That's all you need.
It's like, I've given up drinking coffee for good. Now I only drink coffee for evil.
You're here.
Here. Oh, yeah. Cheers. Slunchy.
That's right. What does slancha mean? Don't bother me, I'm drinking.
It's Irish for piss off. No, it's not.
I think about a third of the Irish language is piss off.
Yeah.
Every other word, yeah.
It's like, what is it? It's being able to properly speak the Irish is being able to tell someone to go pound sand up their ass and fuck off in such a way they look forward to the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, why are you smiling? No, that's your last name? Yeah. Really? Yeah. You know what it means in Irish? No. Kelly. It means one who is always ready to argue or fight. Go ahead. Keep making fun of it.
And your point is?
You ready? I'm ready. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to pay for what I'm carrying around, but let's do that.
You just tell them, shit, that's a regular that's a day that ends in Y. What's wrong with it? What are you doing?
Yeah. Murphy's pretty close, so there you go.
That's right. O'Leary's corollary to Murphy's Law. Murphy was an optimist.
Pretty much. Oh, so since 1987, Traveler put out Twilight 2300, a box set, and they even had a Sigourney Weaver look-alike, and the riding on the success of the Aliens movie, they kind of, even though I don't know much about Traveler, but I've been watching these. So the reason it's called Twilight is because the way that their storyline is set up, humans go to the Barnard Star for like the first time, and we expect to find nothing, and we find a settlement and signals and transmissions and a language we don't understand. And well, as far as Earth is concerned, the ship leaves and the ship comes back a year later, and everyone's like, yay! And the first transmission over the public is, we need to talk. How was the trip? We'll get back to you. Well, what did you see? We'll let you know in a moment. And then the people from Earth tell leadership, oh, by the way, Earth is tiny, and there is a whole galactic imperium of humans out there, and they're called the Volandi, and they run the show. And there's other aliens too. Most of them are humanoid. It's kind of like Star Trek, but they want to talk to you guys. So they're kind of like a caste system, but it's like it's like galaxy wide. And then they try to take over Earth, but they weren't ready for a multiple government. Anyway, long story short, to cover a whole lot of episodes that I watched, Earth independence and freedom and values kind of overtake, serfdom. So after the needle of war and peace goes one way or another, it gets to a point where there's been so much war that the systems aren't talking to one another, and there's still like a leadership in position, but there's just so much decay and all hail Discordia, right?
Entropy.
That it takes a while for communications and everything to get back together, and that is why the box set is called that. So I just saved you hours of research, because if it's part of Traveler, why is it called Twilight? That's because it's 2300 AD, this one period of time when everything's fucked up and it's kind of like lawless space.
I remember vaguely Traveler 2300. Never played it.
Yeah, I have the box sets now. Play the game. Tried to play once, but it was not like D&D.
Now, Clay has been talking about possibly taking his hand at game mastering, and so I was going to bring up some of that tonight. And he had asked me some things, hit opinions on game mastering and stuff, and I, would kind of like to cover some of that.
Awesome.
First off, you decided you wanted to use the Savage Worlds rule set for your
Yes, sir.
to tell your story.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a universe in mind, and is it an established universe?
It is. I have been interested in the Warhammer 40K universe, in the fiction, in the lore, in collecting figures and not painting them, and like rarely actually playing the game. So my experience is just reading books and collecting magazines, and thinking of the strategery, and sitting up late at night when I can't sleep, instead of counting sheep, building armies in my head, because once you memorize the conventions of building one army, it's kind of a blueprint for all the rest.
1, 2, 3, 4. Blood for the blood god. Blood for the blood god.
Blood for the blood god. Skulls from the skull throne. So that's the universe that I know very well. The intricacies, the all the different kinds, because I've read so much fiction. I know there's a lot of stuff up there in the Swiss cheese that's going to come out of my head in random places and times.
Oh, Swiss cheese. I think you're going to do fine. And I've been filling his head what I think makes a good DM. We made a couple lists.
I've been mind mapping, and because I've been using mind mapping for really close to 20 years, and it's just the way my mind works. And the more that you flex it in that direction, the more it works that way. So I've just got, imagine an outline that works the way your brain works. I'll put this little box over here and that little box over there, and all sorts of stuff. So
I'm going to throw you a little curve here. Were you aware that Warhammer 40K has its own role-playing game?
I was not.
Something you might want to look into. I'm looking, and I can see right now that the hard copies of the books are out of stock at their website, but we could probably come up with some stuff. But
DM tip
doing it in Savage Worlds would not be a bad idea. It's a very flexible role-playing game system. There are two basic thoughts on role-playing game systems that go back to the beginning. The one is the D&D mindset, where you have a defined role, and everything you do and everything you can do relates to that role. And then you have, I guess, Traveler would be the first example of, non-class based. You don't have a character class. You have an assembly of skills from which to make your character. And in the original Traveler, those skills were learned semi at random, so character development was all dice generated. And Savage Worlds falls into the latter. It is not a character class based system, although you do still have archetypes. And, unlike early Traveler, you do have complete control over the start of your character. You were talking about starting off with seasoned characters that are a little bit more competent. The only problem with that is if your players don't know the game, giving them a more advanced character is just going to make them struggle that much more. Savage Worlds isn't that bad, not compared to, say, Pathfinder, where, characters just get new abilities piled on at every level, and it can be overwhelming.
Okay. That's something to keep in mind, that a slower progression slow that learning curve. All right.
I would say that we were rushed through Starfinder. Would you agree, Rob, the Blacksmith?
Yeah, Starfinder was a great idea. But we've spoken of this before. It's a great idea that just never got really fleshed out early on.
Yeah, and that's Jingo is like the greatest DM ever. It's nothing against his DMing, obviously, but it's like, all right, level 3. Okay, level 4. Wait. I want to check out level 3. No, it's too late. We're at level 4 now. All right, level 4.
Yeah, no.
That's what it felt like.
Starfinder. Well, I was pushing you guys through the first few levels because it's a very lethal game. It looked like first to third level.
Oh, yeah. You're not lying.
A lot of party wipes.
That space slime almost fucked us up, the entire party.
Yeah, Savage Worlds, on the other hand, Starfinder is one of the former. It's class-based and has a direct linear experience. You accumulate experience just like D&D. Savage Worlds has an advanced system. They don't have you tally experience points. Basically, you set the pace as to how fast you want characters to advance. If you want characters to get powerful fast, give them an advance after every session. If you want to make it crawl, slow it down to once every 5 sessions. They recommend an advance every 2 to 3 sessions. And that's what I try to stick to. You don't want people to advance too fast because then they lose track of all the things that they can do. And Starfinder is bad for that because you get stuff at every level. It's not like old school D&D where you went up in level, what do you get?
Nothing.
You get hit points.
Yeah. Hey, I got more hit points.
Maybe your saving throws got better.
Yay.
Yeah, you can cast this first level spell 2 times.
Yeah. That's the beauty of old school D&D. You appreciated what you had because that's all you got. Now you get this. Oh, and this. Well, I don't need it. And those 2 things. But wait, I'm already a hero. And now these things.
There's more.
And some bennies.
See, the thing that
Starfinder and Pathfinder do that big time. Pile it on.
Both of you are talking.
But I like what you're talking about, Rob, is because early on in D&D, we all played with that one guy or those guys that all they cared about was experience points. They didn't care about anything else. I'm going to push you out of the way so I can kill this particular monster so I can get the experience points because I want to get
12. Yeah, I need 12,462 till the next. Oh man, can't you just enjoy the game?
Yeah, let's have fun. We get to pick up the experience points. We get to pick up the treasure. We get to pick up whatever the benefits are. we have more fun with the guys that want to play the game.
Yeah.
They want to be a part of it. I'm not looking to reach the final level and finish the game so I can tell everybody I beat it.
Yeah.
Yes, the later editions of D&D cured that particular thing by going with what they call milestone experience. Basically doing what Savage Worlds does. You level up when the game master feels you're ready to level up.
When you're ready.
Or when you reach a certain milestone, you go here, once you accomplish this thing in this place, you get a level.
Dun, dun, dun.
Stuff like that. It's like there's one campaign for 5th edition D&D, Curse of Strahd. The entire campaign takes place over 3 to 4 weeks in a very tiny area that you can travel anywhere in the country of Barovia in a day or less. Maybe, usually in a day. And the whole campaign takes weeks, but you're 9th or 10th level at the end of it.
Yeah.
Because character advancement is, rather fast. Kind of have to be for you to face basically the vampire. Not a vampire, the vampire.
Yeah, he's no joke. And if he is a joke, you're DMing wrong.
Yeah.
You fucked up.
I don't want to go there. There are things that you can collect in that particular adventure. If you get them all, it makes him not as formidable. There's ways to pull his fangs, so to speak, but
still, he's supposed to be a problem.
yes,
and his criminal band.
You have to find his ex-wife and then get her on your side. And then, of course, you win. But that's a whole nother tale.
You bring it in there, and then you open it up, and she jumps out and immediately starts nagging him. And when he rolls his eyes, that's when we attack. He'll be at his weakest.
It's Mud's women all over again.
So I have a question. Let's say I have a Joe Basic level 1 character. How much progression to make that from Joe Basic to, let's use Bill as an example, to Joe Mechanic?
talking Savage Worlds characters?
Yes.
Well, at first level, it's a skills-based game. So if you want to be a mechanic, you take the skills that, Savage Worlds is a very skills-light system. There's only like 12 skills in the game, and they're very broad brush. So if you take like repair, that's going to pretty much cover most of that, or maybe in a modern setting, electronics, or an engineering knowledge or something like that. Being a skills-based game, you could easily do the mechanic. And then, of course, there are edges that play into that. Edges like Mr. Fix-It. Once per session, you can just automatically fix something without a roll. Or MacGyver. Once per session, you can make an item. Things like that. So it's really so flexible. You have to decide before you start building your character what you want it to be, because if you just start looking at things and selecting things at random, you're going to get a hodgepodge character that doesn't really do what you want it to do, or it won't do anything effectively because you've got it doing too many things.
Out, yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. See, my thing was as a DM, and kids, viewers, dear viewers, if you're the DM, you can never have too many wandering monsters. There, I said it.
Always keep one on hand.
One is a good start.
Because usually wandering monsters is what I like to do to people and I should have done it to you a couple of sessions ago. When you start to stagnate and can't decide what to do, give them something to do.
You kind of did. You sent that pirate ship at us. Well, we were like, whoa, okay, time to leave, because they were like twice our size. And we're sailing, this way, over here, away from those guys. I don't like the song they're singing. There's too much death and murder in that song. Let's go over here. No, it's Warhammer will be fun. All the death and blood and killing and recycled stuff. 40,000 years. What's another? I tried to give Clay a bunch of Wandering Monsters.
Be an accountant.
Being an accountant, yeah. I am very gracious and giving, and when we're starting out, and here you go, and then after a certain point, when you can fend for yourself, then I get real nitpicky. I'm then counting water and food and arrows and bolts, and we're going to go over here. Well, are you sure you want to do that? Okay, well, now you're all starving to death because, okay, we got to send somebody back. So.
Yes, I haven't been that harsh yet.
Nah. That's usually reserved for players that are being a giant pain in the ass, like a rules lawyer that won't let it go, or if they're just... You can cause a lot of mayhem and have a lot of fun, but stay to the DM's plot. Don't mess with the plot. You got to keep that going.
I had a player that I was running a stream game for Trollord Games, playing Castles and Crusades, and one of the players in the game derailed everything. Everything I threw at him. Nope, we're going to keep moving. Nope, we're going to keep moving. Until I blasted them once. It's like, I set up an adventure that could have been 3 game sessions, 3 streams worth of entertainment. But you guys, the situation was they're headed towards this town to bring a prisoner back, but they think they're walking into an ambush. So they divert to another town where they know some people and ask them for help. Well, the people they know there are the Thieves Guild, and they're under the thumb of a religious zealot, basically a law and order crusader. And so they ask the player characters, hey, if you help us out with this, we can help you out. Nah, we're going to move on. It's like, okay. So I forced them for the rest of that game session to roll random encounters on stream. Yeah. And then blasted them. It's like, look, every time you guys decide not to engage in whatever I'm doing, which is almost every time, then we end up having to do random encounters, and I have to make shit up on the fly because you guys won't engage with my content.
Hope you're writing this all down and taking notes, Clay. I know you are, but I'm saying it.
Listen to this later and take notes. I don't have a notebook with me, and I don't write that fast.
There's just things that I've learned.
I'm intrigued with the idea of the 40K RPG, because the only part of Warhammer that I know has always been the unit tactics, the army based. So, you always had the champions, and in each of the different versions of Warhammer, there were champions. And when I first got into it and started looking at those things, I would ask those questions. Well, can anybody play the champion? Well, no, you can get a champion, and the champion can be part of your army, and champion then adds to your army's capacity and ability to do things and can do some of these things, but it's not the same as the role playing. So it's going to be very interesting to see that. I love the thought of it. Just remembering the different champions and, Nurgle's champions and the Slaneshis and all the rest of it. So.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, well, one of the things about, the 40K universe is, the penultimate 40K universe representative is the Space Marine. And, he's a blue dragon. He's a party killer. Just one of them. So if you guys meet any kind of a Space Marine, things are seriously wrong, and you got to book it. Really, that's the situation.
Shit's gonna go down.
Oh yeah, it's gonna go sideways real quick.
Gotcha. Good to know.
Now you are going to provide the opportunities for player characters to eventually achieve that level, right? Because what makes a space marine is his skill and his equipment, right?
No, they are genetic supermen. Really, they're genetically enhanced warriors. Um, using using technology, using magic, using a high level, and really centuries of life, you can achieve that level of power.
But it's not natural.
Well,
But it's not natural. It's a hard slog.
you've got some very interesting dynamics in space travel in all of sci-fi. I'm going to step sideways for just a second because Warhammer 40K, they use computers to pilot their ships through time and space and fold and all that fun. And Star Wars, they have the sublight.
Well, they are, yeah.
And Star Trek and, what? They have a couple different drives in Starfinder, the Hell drive and the...
Well, with Starfinder, it all works the same way. There's this, they call it the drift. There's this alternate dimension where you can go in there and time and space work differently. And so if you catch the right spot in the drift, you can travel great distances in the real world while not moving very far in the drift, but there's some variation on it. That's why short hops, it's easier to just fly straight there because the variation on the drift might, if it's a 6-day flight, if you decide to take the drift to get there, it might end up being a 9-day flight.
Mm. And in Space 1889 tabletop role-playing game, they have the ether propeller, and they go back and forth mostly in the solar system. But in Dune, they take drugs and pilot giant ships across the galaxy.
In the 40K universe, they tear a hole in the immaterium and they travel through demon-infested space to another spot in the immaterium. Sometimes the journey can take a few minutes. Sometimes the journey can take a few years. It's possible to get lost. There are planets in the immaterium. They are chaos-filled. They are, it's like Clendathu. It's a bug planet. It's a nasty planet.
This game is just the stuff of nightmares. I can't wait to start playing.
It is. It's the stuff of nightmares. Grimdark.
So, because... okay. Dear viewers.
100% pure. An army only costs you $1,000.
Yeah. And then you got to paint it.
Yeah.
Or have your friend paint theirs, and then you know which ones are yours. The naked ones.
Yeah, the guys that I knew that were just in it for the gameplay were the ones that always primed their armies, and whatever color primer was cheap at Ace Hardware. And that was it.
Just tape them down and
hose red, black, or whatever. That was it. This is my army. Okay, great.
Okay.
That's pretty much where I would be with it.
I bought a whole bunch of just generic 3D printed miniatures. And I didn't really look at some of them that I bought, but then when I got them, I looked at them, and they're teeny tiny. And they're Gamorrean guards from Star Wars. But
nice.
I've got that same... You have so many different factions in certain role-playing games. Dude, screw that. It was just easier to paint them all either gloss black or flat black and then kind of dab color on them. And then they're just generic bad guys from this company, from this faction, from this war, from this... Then I don't have to spend a whole day painting miniatures, and then we're going to use them in an up-and-coming game for like 2 hours, and then we're never going to fight those guys ever again. So it's easier to... the three of you are smiling because you know it's true. Well, we fought him once, and then that was it. But I bought $60 worth. No, just use some generic ones. Nobody cares. We used to have to use dice because all you had was the lead figures. No one could afford miniatures unless you were playing with a rich kid.
The only miniature you could afford is the players all had their own miniature for their character.
Yep. Everybody else just used dice.
And good luck finding a miniature that matched your character. The best way to do that was to buy the miniature and build the character to match the miniature.
There you go. That was now, oh God! I got the naked sorcerer girl. I got me as a
Hero
cat
Forge.
wizard. Hero Forge.
Hero Forge will let you make, and you can even get it pre-painted.
Oh, nice. No, I want to paint it myself.
My problem with painting was the planning, because I was like, gray and burgundy, or this color and that color, and
that would drive me nuts. They all have to be the same. Oh God.
I liked concentrating on small forces. That way I could, spread my wings and paint these guys that color and those guys that color. And,
wait a minute. Wait. Remember, he who started it all in the great Gygaxian beginning took a dinosaur from one of his kids' toys off a shelf, put it on the map, and said, "That's a dragon."
Done the same.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, a lot of the original iconic D&D monsters were because there was a toy company that would make a random bag of just weird monsters. Now, out of that random bag of weird monsters, we got the Boulette, the Rust Monster.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Clay, mid-rant.
I believe the Ankeg and the Beholder, and there were others.
They just made weird... What is this? I don't know. It's a monster.
And so, yeah, they bought the monsters and they gave them names and powers. And
what's a rust monster?
A rust monster is something that it looks kind of like a brain, except it has legs and it has antenna coming out the front and a weird looking tail. And when it touches the tail, it causes metal to oxidize and corrode, and then it eats the scraps.
When they smell metal, they go into a frenzy. You can't,
And so your fighter in plate mail with a sword, rust monsters are terrifying. Because, there went your breastplate. There went your +2 longsword. It was one of the terrifying. It was right up there with level draining in 1st and 2nd edition D&D, and in current Starfinder and Pathfinder. There are monsters that will permanently take away one of your character levels. Permanently. Well, they can be restored with powerful magic, but that is the most terrifying thing that could happen in a game, is because it takes a long time to get that level back.
Really, they're an animal. They have an animal mentality. They hang out in families like animals. They just eat metal instead of being omnivores or herbivores.
Trying to think of some of the other monsters. I don't know if the Beholder was one of them or not. But I do know the Rust Monster and the Belay, the Owl Bear.
Yeah.
The Owl Bear was one of them.
The Owl Bear and the Hook Horror and...
Yeah, there were all kinds of... Well, the Fiend Folio, which was Great Britain's, lasting contribution to the D&D culture, was the Fiend Folio, a folio of some of the most horrible, nasty monsters ever introduced to D&D. It's where the Githyanki came from. In fact, they graced the cover of it.
Yep.
It's where the Githzerai came from. It's where the Drow Elves came from.
and many other horrible. It's Fiend Folio is just such a fitting name because most of the shit in there is horrible.
And for 5th edition D&D, the current edition D&D, I want to say it's Kobold Press has a bestiary that includes most of the original Fiend Folio monsters.
Hang on. You can never really have enough monsters. That's what D&D is designed for. And I mean, because you get a job, go save the princess, go rescue this. We haven't heard from this village, whatever, and that inevitably leads to a dungeon or a labyrinth of some kind, and they're always teeming with monsters. That's the way it should be.
The deep, dark forest, the high, dark mountains, whatever the case may be, there's always something that lives there. And either that's something that the locals know what it is, or they're not sure what it is, and there's always the tales and this something happened, and it's an incredible story builder, and it really is wonderful when bringing forward whatever the trek is going to be, whatever the quest is going to be. That is one of the best modifiers to the tale to just really draw in your players and give them something to always have in the back of their mind. What is it? The Skeezax. The Skeezax lives somewhere in there. What is it? We don't know. You won't know until it's on top of you. Okay, great. Off we go.
It's coming. I can hear it at night, crawling through the darkness.
Yes.
Well,
That's,
what?
you know,
Oh, go ahead.
with D&D, the problem with is some people have been playing it for so long that the lore of a lot of these monsters is just known, even if it changes from edition to edition. You know, people know too much. That's why I kind of like the Savage Worlds game, because you guys have no idea what is out there and what it's capable of. You know, none.
We
So
don't
everything
even
could
know.
be a surprise.
We don't even know if the same rules apply for hags for when we get to the end game. You know.
Well, I can tell you that Savage Worlds monsters don't conform to their D&D counterparts in a lot of ways. In D&D, there are certain monsters that cannot be affected by non-magical weapons. I don't think that's a thing in Savage Worlds. There are things that are more resistant to non-magic weapons, but I don't think there's anything that's just immune
Proof.
in that way. There's also, how to put it? That was loud. Savage Worlds also provides a whole section of just abilities that you can add on to any given monster to make it unique. Abilities that player characters don't have access to. And so, well, with the game we're running now, it's kind of going on the Scooby-Doo philosophy of all the worst villains are men.
And human.
Human or human adjacent, one of the
Human
sentient
adjacent.
races.
Ah,
Yes.
the fish people. It was the fish people.
Yes. When I say humanity, it's all of the characters that could be player characters.
Ah.
Well, humans aren't even the native race on this world.
I remember reading that when reading the races. I forget which one is. They look like humans.
The Masakwani.
Masakwani.
They look like humans. The difference is that they tend to have exaggerated features. A really smart Masakwani will have maybe a big head and big eyes. A really strong Masakwani will be ridiculously muscled, like a comic book figure. You know, tall Masakwani tend to be like over 8 feet tall. Short Masakwani can be like 3.5 feet tall.
They sound like
But
they sound like Who's from Whoville more than a race.
Kind of, yes. They all have alliterative names. Their first and last names always start with the same letter, like Caius Cal and things like that.
Gotcha.
Byron Baltimus, who
Luna
founded this.
Lovegood.
Luna Lovegood would have made a great Masquani. The other races in that world, you have the Kahana, which I call the shark people, the Grail, which are the walrus people, and the Doreen, which are the dolphin people. You have the Scarillians, which are the crab people. You have the Kraken, which are the octopus people. And you have the Atami, which are the bird people. To that, I've added a bunch of races. But, that's
Damn,
just
a
me.
Minotaur. What the hell?
I've always wanted to be a Minotaur in a role-playing game. That's why
Awesome.
I made that as just the first sample character, and it sat around until somebody claimed it.
I'm happy to be that somebody. I'm having fun with him. Just gonna
You beat me to it. I would have taken it.
Anyways, Clay, I'm sure you had other
Oh, yeah, sorry.
game mastering questions. I figured this is a great venue to pound some of that out.
Game Mastering 101.
Because,
Well, my first note to self is to say the same thing about game mastering that I say about my ex is no matter where you go, no matter what you do, there's always a narrative.
there is. There is,
So-
and the hardest thing to do is to keep momentum in a game, keep things moving forward.
Now, one of the things that I watched a video about that I was trying to get across to Bill, and we skipped away from the subject before I completed that. And it was basically free reactions. And what did you say about the reactions? That there's 3 different types of reaction. My example was there's a knock at the door, and Kira, you're closest to the door. What do you want to do? As a kind of a forced reaction.
And then I trying to explain complex actions, simple actions, and free actions.
Yes. Actions, I think Savage Worlds calls them limited actions. They're limited actions like drawing or putting away a weapon, opening or closing a door, things like that don't count as your action. You get 1 limited action per round. So you could open a door and shoot through it, or draw your weapon and shoot, things like that. Free actions are things that require little or no effort. Shouting something to somebody across the room, dropping a weapon out of your hand, things like that are free actions.
Now, I believe that the subject, I've got a lot of notes, and I believe the subject of the video was to promote player engagement. One of the things that it suggested in this video as well was if you've got somebody who's quiet and maybe not engaging with their character the way they should, that maybe you could just pass them a note, a secret, there's going to be a knock on the door, some sort of MacGuffin.
Yes, there are several different kinds of players, and different people want different things out of role-playing games. You have I liken it to broad brush this. You have orcs and you have elves, and then you have shades of everything in between.
That's
Orcs-
really good.
Orcs want to smash.
Yes.
They want the biggest weapons. They want the best armor. They want to do the most damage. They want to smash, 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 smash.
Chaos.
Elves want to tell you the exquisite colors of their robe and give you a 15-page backstory and have a name with 7 words in it, and go into extended descriptions of what their character looks like and role play, and that's the extreme. Elves will. Most people don't fit one of those categories. They have shades.
They're in the middle.
They're either closer to they're either more elf or they're more orc. But within that, you still have people that want different things. Some people prefer exploration. Some people prefer problem solving. Some people prefer fighting. Some people prefer role-playing engagement and storytelling. As a game master, one of your jobs is to identify what makes your players tick and try to include some of that in it. And after a while, as a game master, when you start doing that, you'll automatically, fall into a pattern where you include elements that will fit everybody's taste. Because I always thought it was a universal truth that every game master runs the game he wants to play in. Every game master.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah.
And, while he will love playing in other games, and even I do it. I sit there and I think about how I would do things differently. When back in the day, I was the forever GM. I was the only game master in our rather extensive group for a number of years. And when other people finally stepped up and started running games, it was all I could do to not want to correct them and override them. And, no, that's not how it works.
Guilty.
No,
Yeah.
Just sit down and shut up and let them do it their way. Jingo's number 1 rule of role-playing: if you're having fun, you're not doing it wrong. Jingo's number 2 rule of role-playing is life first always. There will be more games. If you have something else you need to be doing, go be doing it. I won't be upset if you miss one of my games for a kid's softball game or to take your wife out to dinner or whatever it is you're doing. The game is a game. There is nothing ultimately less important in your life than this game. That being said, please come and enjoy it.
I'll bring cookies. I'll make cookies. Make.
When it gets cooler. After November. Or in November. I tried to give him so many. He was another great question Clay asked was, how do you create suspense? And the 2 best ways, because he asked me that question, I thought, that's a really good question. One, first off, is the players will do it on their own.
It will. You can give them a couple of facts or even just little hints.
And they will come up with a myriad.
You guys are standing on the porch of the scary old house in the middle of nowhere. You give them a few things like how it creaks in the wind. How, you think you might see shadows in some of the upper windows. And just little details, and they will run with it. Even if you forget the details, 5 minutes later, they're going to be dwelling on that insignificant detail because they think it's important because it came out of your mouth. And I have misled players, and this is one of my bad habits. When people start to get too far off the beaten track, I usually drop hints to put them back on it. I need to stop doing that. I need to let them wander all the way down to the end of that dead-end road and find out it's a dead-end road.
Wow, how is this a pier? Where did the ocean come from? Oops.
All right, I got that. Draw a good mental picture.
I also
Yes.
I also included give lots of misinformation from like villagers, city folk, because they don't know.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, your players have made
A
up this
lot of
whole
early
side.
modules did this in the make up a rumor list. Like
Yes,
10
yes.
to 15 rumors. Some of them are true, some of them are partially true, some of them are absolutely lies.
It's a little fabrication.
And then, come up with a system to where give everybody, a couple of rolls on a table, see which rumors you know. Maybe people know it. If you plan on putting it in an established area like a city or a community, whether there's going to be a lot of NPCs to interact with, like you're doing a city campaign, make yourself a great big list of NPCs of all walks of life. Just all you need is a name, a race, and an occupation. You don't need to write out, make up character sheets for this shit, none of it. And then when you get this big list, you show the list to your players and you tell them, all right, pick one person on this list you know well, 3 people you know, and 1 you don't like. And then, yes. And then see what people, and when everybody picks theirs, don't let anybody else see who and what they're picking, so that some of you might know the same person. You might be best friends with this guy that another player can't stand.
How do you know Steve the Furrier? What? Steve the Furrier's been our furrier for generations. Wow. Yeah.
I know Steve the Furrier. He sucks.
Oh, how dare you say that about Steve the Furrier? See, we've already got a story. We haven't even started playing yet.
These are little things. I said that will work if you plan on taking place in a city or someplace where you want to make it feel alive.
I'm glad you told him a list of NPCs, because that's what I told. I agree. I told him, look up online, DMs make just a list of NPC names, because you're going to run out halfway through.
Now, unfortunately, this option is no longer available. But back in the day, when I needed NPC names, the White Pages phone book. Because
yeah,
there are some people out there have some weird ass fucking names.
Yes, they do.
And you can come up with a name that's somebody's real name. Like one of my favorites, I had a villain in a superhero game I ran. His name was Nader Zod. Naderzaad. And yes, somewhere in the valley, at least back in the 90s, there was somebody with the name Nader Zod.
Poor guy. He's forever immortalized as a supervillain now.
Yes, yeah. He was the Legion. He could make multiples of himself and had levels in teamwork with himself, so that when 4 or 5 of them got on you, they worked you over.
Right on. Yeah, you use the NPCs to create the intrigue, because you just sit back and let the players they jump to conclusions. They've got this whole, like you said it best, Jingo, in your mind, you're going, I can't believe you guys are still on this. Not only is this nothing, I made that up like 5 minutes ago. It's not even part of my story. And now you're convinced that it's a major pillar in my, the next arc is... What?
And don't be afraid when the players throw out an idea you didn't think of. Run with that shit.
Add it. Okay,
steal it right out of their mouth and add it to your story. Also, the game master's favorite word: plagiarize.
Guilty.
Steal from everything. I have run D&D adventures based on Scooby-Doo episodes, on Gilligan's Island episodes. You'd be surprised what you can turn into a fantasy story from just the barest of elements. Steal from everything.
Stole NPCs from normal movies.
That's what I do. Is a lot of my NPCs are the NPCs from Disney movies. I've had several different games where Horace and Jasper show up. For those of you who don't remember Horace and Jasper, they were the two henchmen buffoons that Cruella de Vil employed to steal the 101 Dalmatians. There was a short, fat, stupid one and a tall, skinny, stupid one. And Horace and Jasper regularly, in fact, at some point, they'll show up in this game.
Oh, good.
Another thing is, as a game master, not all game masters do voices and get into character. But if you want to do that, the easy way to start is think of a TV character, or especially a cartoon character, who has a distinctive way of talking or a distinctive voice, and try to imitate that. Now, you don't have to sound like them, but as long as you can sound consistent, now you have a character voice. You know, you could be Foghorn Leghorn, son. I tell you, son, let me knock some sense into you. Let me grab this here board.
I also told Clay how that can backfire. They were doing Shadowrun and Christine and the Cookie and I made up this John. They were in Hawaii. I made up this Johnson, and I was just being obnoxious, trying to do a terrible Islander accent and all this other stuff, and it backfired. That's the only person they wanted to do business with from the rest. Now I got to make up all these island adventures. I don't know anything about Honolulu.
Now, also, yeah. So
the island.
Now, one of my favorite ones. My wife and I were for a while. There's this mobile app called Choices, and it's basically visual novels where at certain points you can choose where the story goes. And we were doing those. We were streaming those and doing character voiceovers. And one of my favorite ones for the villains is the original voice was Paul Frees, but I know other people have done it. I know the same voice or a very similar one is used for Professor Doofenshmirtz on Phineas and Ferb. That is a German villain, yeah.
Just a
who wants to plot to take over the world.
Also,
I am going to boil your mind.
Oh, who does Chrome Dome on the Tick in the 90s? We have to do bad things to good people with science.
Yes. Or do the text. Let me tell you, son. But yeah, just simple, a bit of an accent, you know, change the pitch of your voice, speak fast, speak slow, little things to create, you know, a little bit of create, I don't know, I've lost my word.
Ambiance.
Memorable NPCs. Do you have other questions?
Let's see.
I'm full of useless advice.
Useless advice. Useless advice.
Because I see it a lot on Facebook. People will ask for any game mastering advice for beginning game masters, and that's a tricky thing because game masters are not all alike. No two game masters are alike, and their games are going to be wildly different, and you kind of have to find what works for you. A combination of what works for you and what keeps your players engaged. And that's the hard part, is you have to make it fun for them. If people, you know, there are signs when people, you know, start playing with their pencils or when they start stacking their dice.
Playing on their phones.
Yes. That's why I have a hard and fast rule of do not stack your dice at my table, because inevitably you're going to knock over that stack of dice and some of them are going to leave the table, and then it's a distraction. So just don't do it.
Just trying to think of some other stuff that, because I made a list of like 15 things to tell them.
And you didn't write it down?
Well, he did. There was keep the game moving. Like
yes, pace.
Jingo was pacing it.
Yeah, you got to keep up the pace.
Individual character developed plot lines versus the overall plot line of the campaign. You don't want to get too wrapped up in the Cavalier or the Wizard or the Cleric.
The individual character plot lines work best if A, you have a small group, 4 players, maybe 5, and it's a more serious, dedicated game. Me personally, I'm in a lot of games, so I don't put all of my energy into just one, which, I would like to get back to that someday, but I'm not there now.
But I think that for your first outing as DM, just keep it real.
But yeah, individual character stories, if you ask for a backstory from your character, if you're asking people for backstories, find a way to incorporate that into the story going forward. The problem with tying story elements to a particular character are, okay, that player's work schedule changed and he can no longer play in the game. Or that character died and they're bringing in a different character. Or, you have continuity errors. All of a sudden, what you had planned can't go that way because the guy that was making it go that way is in a pine box in the ground.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a game. What are they going to do?
Yeah, Reason says the last game he ran was more role play than fighting. The crew was paranoid and convinced the NPC was a bad guy, but he didn't have him written down as a bad guy. Should you have just run with it? That's entirely up to you. Yeah, make him a bad guy, or, maybe make him not a bad guy, but throw an evil doppelganger in there or his evil twin brother so that I saw him do some evil shit. Well, it wasn't him.
Did, but it wasn't me.
I'll always be willing to throw more wrenches in the story.
I would agree about each DM is different, and you're going to find your own pace. You're going to find your own middle ground. You're going to realize what works for you, because I'm a natural storyteller, but that doesn't make me good at math and statistics and remembering all of the components for spells and damage that a monster does and things like that. So I constantly have to make notes for myself. And the best advice was, if the players come up with a good storyline, just add it to what you were already doing. Hell, now they're writing the story for you. Half your work's done now.
Yes, always be willing to, add with the characters, and I don't always do this. I used to do it a lot. At the end of a game session, ask for feedback from your players. What did you like about the session? What didn't you like? Was there a point at which you were bored? What would you like to see that I didn't do? What would you like to see me stop doing that I did do? This is your adventure too. Let's make it fun for everybody. I'm not one of those player versus game masters. I play under them, and I don't have a problem with that kind, but then it's almost more of a board game at that point.
Hey, if you let them, the players will accidentally destroy their own plot just because they don't know how you're creating the story.
Now, what I do is, rather than have a hard and fast, this is the story, I have concepts, and I'll have some monsters to set aside. Like, for instance, the last in-person session we ran, the concept was, you guys have escaped from the Cursed Garden, and you've got to get back to the kingdom to stop the hags and whatever they're doing. And so, it's like, all right, it's going to be a one-day adventure. Let's do it in 3 legs. The first leg is the hags would have put an obstacle in your way. What would that obstacle be? Okay, goblins. And the hags have a spell that make goblins look like something else. What would they make the goblins look like? Children dancing around a maypole.
Yeah.
And then when the player characters, ostensibly all of you go to check out the children, you get attacked from behind by the other goblins. And then the goblins, who were the kids on the maypole. But you guys sent scouts forward, and it ended up being a split combat. You ended up winning anyways. But
we got lucky.
Then the second encounter was classic. Trolls under a bridge. And I think Clay was, I think was it Clay or was it Rob that said that, to really make it tense, you should have had another round of trolls come up off of that bridge. It's like, I thought about it, but yes. I didn't want to spend too long on it because the whole centerpiece was the final fight. And
it was a fun adventure.
It was.
Doing one-shots like that. I learned that from 4th edition D&D. They had set up a system that they called Delves, which is basically a dungeon in 3 parts: an opening encounter, an intermediate encounter, and then the boss encounter. And that was your adventure for the day. And so that's kind of the mentality I have been taking with our Saturday games, is that, I've got, the one before that was a mystery to solve, and so it wasn't quite the same because it was non-linear. This last one was linear. The next one is going to be fairly linear too. Basically, Lord Griffith's son, Opus, is a young knight and wants to go participate in a tournament, and so you're going to be his entourage as you travel across country to escort him to a tournament, and all the crazy shit that could happen between here and there.
Should be fun.
But no.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to suggest is that when Clay gets his game ready, I could take a break from doing the Saturday game and let him take over as game master for a few sessions. Because right now, my wife is very tolerant of my gaming habit, but I'm probably pushing it to the limit. And if I tried to add more games, I think it would break me as well as her. So, got to give and take.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't want that. I want fun. I want everybody to have fun. I want this to be a learning experience for me and fun for you. So the advice of asking everybody and listening to what you guys have to say, that's going to be par for the course, because I overthink everything, and I definitely want input. So I'm not overthinking about this and that and that and the other thing.
Just go with it, A lot of it is improv. I'd say the way I game master is hugely improv, but if you're not an improvisational person, don't try that. Some people thrive on having a lot of prep, a lot of notes, and getting everything really tied down.
It helps.
And as much as you hear people rail about game masters that railroad you, the opposite is to give people a completely open sandbox. And the Thursday session before last one is a perfect example of why you don't give people an open sandbox, because you'll get 5 different players that want to do 5 different things and they'll never agree on it. So
that happened.
Really you'll want to kind of focus them. You want to keep them on a track and keep them going. And while we're not all jaded gamers who are going to rail about being railroaded. We're just going to be enjoying the story. So don't be afraid to, force the issue. and at times, force the narrative. If
Yeah.
the story starts off with you guys basically in the back of a prison wagon being dragged, somewhere, how they got there, all of that is not really relevant. People will try to argue, well, my character would. No, it doesn't matter. This is the situation. This is where the story starts. So what you might have done is be willing to just be indifferent to the pleas of the player characters. Don't be mean to them, but be indifferent. Be impartial. That's the word, not indifferent, impartial.
One of your favorite sentences is going to be, you don't know.
Well, you're certainly welcome to try.
Yeah. What about that? You don't know. You can't see. You can't hear. It's around the corner. Well, I do this. Well, you don't know because it's not within. Because they'll try to, you don't have superpowers. Okay, you can't hold on, it's coming to me. It's 4 orcs. One's named Steve.
I forget who did it last Thursday. Somebody threw down a Benny and was like, well, no, you can't throw down a Benny and then ask me to solve your problem. That's not how that works.
I don't remember who that was, but yeah, I remember you said that. It's more like a do-over.
Question about bennies.
Yeah.
Creating
Jim did that to me once.
Gearhead Jim?
I was running a Pulp 30s game, and his idea of coming up with a plan was coming up with the results of that plan and expecting me to tell the story that got it there.
It's worth a shot.
No.
I mean, no.
Okay, Bill and I were talking about the bennies, and he said something that he feels that bennies in our pirate game is kind of like cheating because you get basically getting a do-over.
Throw me in.
That's why they limit them.
Can you play the bennies different? Like, I want to throw down a benny before this roll for a lucky roll.
No, that is not. I mean, it's your game. You can run it that way if you want. You can give it a try. I already think bennies are more powerful than they need to be. That would just add a level of power to them that I think would unbalance the game.
Okay, that's a good thought. Because I don't want to unbalance the game because it's going to already be chaotic.
Well, I'll tell you, Savage Worlds is one of the hardest game systems to break.
Challenge accepted.
It is nearly bulletproof. So, like I said, if you want to expand what a Benny can do, you could certainly do that.
Okay.
But with the exploding dice of Savage Worlds, anybody has, no matter how obscure your chance is, you never know when that die roll is going to explode. You never know. That's why I constantly say Savage Worlds be savage, yo. I have a little kitty cat tapping at my knee. He wants pets.
Oh, well then you know what to do next.
Okay, I hadn't thought about the exploding dice. So the exploding dice would be that stroke of luck.
Yes. Now, there are edges that make your bennies more effective. There is one called Elon, which anytime you play a benny, you get a +2. So you want to benny that roll, your next roll gets a +2. You want to benny that damage, it gets a +2.
Okay.
There are also luck and great luck are edges, each one of which gets you an additional benny. So you can start with more than 3. Also, the young hindrance. If you start off as a kid, you get slightly fewer skill points and slightly fewer attribute points. But you start off with an extra Benny. So if you're like a kid with great luck, you could start off with 6 bennies. So there's the edges are really, that's where you really define who your character and what your character is in Savage World. The skills will tell you your profession, but the edges are what make you special.
It's the extra homework.
Yes, studying the edges would behoove you to know what they all do. Because as you guys go up in level, the edges get, they get better.
I noticed that.
Oh, he's
So
flopped
many
down
tips
beside
to-
me now.
Hide your rolls. You don't want to kill your players by accident.
I am of the opposite school. Let the dice fall where they may. You notice that I almost never roll. Well, sometimes I'll roll it because that's where I'm standing, but usually in a in-person game, I like throwing my rolls on the table. That way, nothing has been fudged. If my monster hits, he hits. If he misses, he misses.
Yeah. Not in the beginning. I don't want to accidentally kill the party. This is going to be good. Oh, John, I'm sorry. Hey, you wanted to be a ranger, right?
This is why I started you guys off at 5th level. So that I didn't have to. Because 1st level characters, chances are 1, maybe 2 of your 1st level characters are going to die in the first game session. And that's the way old school D&D was supposed to be.
A traveler player. I want to know all about it. Heard about it. Seen it. Owned a couple boxes and books. Never played. No, we just didn't know anybody else that played. Good.
Clay, other questions? You said he gave you a whole list.
List, yeah. 15.
Let's see.
Be sure you know all the spells and all of the. Be sure
you
know
all the spells,
all the classes. Read all the races. Read all the because the players will be doing the research to try to get an edge on you. Not that it's DM versus player, but having. I
find that these days, the players like us who used to read the books to try to get the edge, not enough people do that. I wish I could get people that invested in the rules here.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the day, it was vicious, especially
it was vicious.
2nd and 3rd edition, and 3rd edition D&D, which required a fair level of mastery, and so. Where Savage Worlds is the great equalizer. By the time you guys reach legendary status, you'll all just, The cool thing about Savage Worlds is you're still one exploding die roll away from dying. No matter how powerful you get, you're one bad roll away from just coming to an end.
3.5 was designed to get people that play video games to play tabletop. There, I'm gonna die on that hill.
It was. A lot of people claim 4th edition was that way, and it kind of it was, but 3rd edition was, 3rd edition was Diablo on paper. And in fact, yeah.
Yes, it was.
And 4th edition...
it's become brackish. What, they say that, do you?
Yes, they do.
4th edition. Because second edition was the first time you went, okay, your character has a level, but your class is, you're level 5, but you're 2 levels in thief and 3 levels in fighter.
No, that was 3rd edition D&D.
Was that 3rd edition?
Second edition D&D, you had dual class characters.
Dual class.
And multi-class characters. Multi-class characters were demi-human, and they had a level cap. Because you had all these special abilities for being a race, the penalty was that you could only go so high in level on these characters.
You also got a
Dual
profession.
class, yeah. Dual class, on the other hand, was if you had a character that had ridiculously high scores because you needed like a 15 in the class you were in and 17s in the class you were going to, you could quit being one class only as a human and start up as another class. Third edition D&D was every time you level up, you decide whether or not you want to level up in the class you're in or start a new class. And third and fifth edition D&D both do that. Fourth edition didn't do that so much. But it did a lot of things differently.
They all blend together. It's that whole, what we were talking about earlier, old gamers don't read rules anymore. They've been preached to us by younger people that's not right. It's in this game. I don't know what you're talking about. And then you have some, this is, and that reading. Well, thank you for reading that to me. Now I don't have to do that. Oh, good. Well, now, yeah, sorry. I thought it was the other one. I can't see that. I don't have my glasses with me.
Take a quick break, gentlemen.
Oh, absolutely.
Be right back.
So, edit any magic, made a fighter. True. Just then you could compound.
You had talked about learning all the rules. That is a daunting task. Learning all the rules can be difficult. My suggestion is learn the basics, and as you go along, when something comes up, study it for the next time.
Yeah.
Well, make something up on the fly, and then go back later and figure out how it works.
A good rules discussion is when both the DM and the player are like, I don't know. A bad one is when you have either a player or a DM that's secretly a rules lawyer, and then this becomes a thing. And now we got to spend 40 minutes arguing over make-believe rules.
Now, one thing as a game master, I will give this advice to players. Don't argue with your game master during the game unless you really think his decision is going to detrimentally affect the game in some permanent way. Other than that, tell him, I disagree, but we'll move on, and then have that discussion away from the table so that you're not stopping the gameplay.
Yeah.
Accept the game master's on-the-fly rules,
Because in the end, it's the DM gets to say, we're not going to use that rule. But I was playing this in my leg. We're not going to use that rule in this game, and that should be the end of the discussion. Okay, you used it in the last one. I'm glad it worked for you. I don't like that rule. We're not going to use it. When you're the DM, we can use that rule all day long.
I did that a lot to people. That's why some of the players in my games eventually started running games. Is like, well, when you run a game, you can do it that way.
And there you go. It's not to be, because that's the problem. It's like, if I forgot a rule, or I had it wrong, or I misquoted it, or maybe I only remembered half of it, that's on me. Okay, now I'm educated. We don't have to spend any more time on this. Let us move forward. But when when they lawyer up and, well, it says here that you can't light this torch because the ceiling is, I light the torch anyway. And I drop to my knees and I walk that way down the, it's not worth fighting over.
No, really, it's not. Another thing is, don't say no. Can I do this? Never say, well, no, you can't. It's like, well, you're certainly welcome to try.
If you think that's a good idea, you can do it.
And if you make that your universal, then people will always
be like, wait a minute.
Will always be thinking about, wow, I thought this would be an easy task. And he says, you're certainly welcome to try. Now I have my doubts about it.
I don't know. I was confident until you said that. No, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm trying to remember some of the other stuff I was telling him. There's so many things to remember for being a DM.
But a lot of it I just learned on the fly. I imagine I was not a very good game master for the longest time.
You pick it up as you
Um,
go along. Oh, I know I wasn't. I had to learn.
but as for learning the rules, back in our day, everybody would, devour the rule book and understand everything in detail. Now, it's a video game culture. People just want to plug in and mash buttons. They, and more, you are expected to be the one that knows the rules. And as the game master, you should know the rules. But trying to learn all the rules to a game like, say, Starfinder, where the rule book is this fucking thick,
Oh, yeah.
as opposed to Savage Worlds, which is just a little skinny book.
And I noticed that's not nearly as big. Starfinder has a lot of potential, but once again, they ruined their own story a lot, like so many others. Where it's like you got this amazing world, but you're just fast tracking people for the the orcs, the level climbers. 12,000 till level 5, and then I could become a Myriadan or whatever the hell it was called, the original D.
Yes.
It's a bit odd. I had fun playing. I was a tech, the rat people. Yoshki, Yosoki. That's the one. It was cool. They had a lot of neat races. It was a lot of fun.
Starfinder had its fun. My problem with Starfinder, and it extends to certain other games, is that um, in addition to being a good rule set, it had a campaign universe baked into the game. Whereas
Yeah.
D&D, not really so much. You've got your generic D&D game worlds and several examples of it, but it's not baked into the game like, say, RuneQuest back in the day. You could put it in your own game world, but really a lot of the tropes in the game, were built on the game world that came with it.
Nice. AI Technomancer.
Yes, that was fun.
Magic and technology.
Yes, Technomancers are the wizards of the Starfinder world.
They have
No,
priests
that's-
too, don't they? Well, how
Yeah.
does see that?
No, they have mystics are the priests of the Starfinder world.
Oh, mystics. Twitch, good name. How does magic work with ship combat? I mean, just
Ship combat and Starfinder can be unwieldy if you don't get all of the players to buy into the fact that your ship has a crew positions, and when you make your character, you'll want to think about the crew position that you serve on the ship in addition to your character class, because
in your story.
you've got people that man the weapons, you've got people that manage the engineering consoles, you've got people that manage the science console. Um, there are a couple of books that added to the crew roles. There's a magic officer, and each of these has, during a ship combat round, things that they can do that help the performance of the ship.
As it
I
should
was
be.
not ever really fond of the Starfinder ship combat because it was a little, like I said, it was a little bit unwieldy. But we always had fun with it.
I would have to relearn everything for every game if you give it to me now. Well, like we're gonna have to learn 40K.
At least the game world, 40K. I encourage him to do it in Savage Worlds. I had only mentioned the other role-playing system just to
As a
put it out there,
reference,
but yeah, I was looking at their pricing though, and I'm not really fond of it. They've fallen into the, here's the main game book and it's $40. Oh, and then if you want this part of the game, there's another game book that's $40. and then
And
another
then
game book
here's a
that's
supplement for
$40,
35,
and another game book for $40. So,
get
just
you a
looking,
Tootsie Fruitsy ice cream.
yeah, just looking at the Warhammer 40K, there are 4 books. So that's $160
So
to
much
invest
homework.
in this game, and a lot of modern role-playing games do that. It's like, here's a little bit of the game, not enough to make you help to allow you to fully flesh out the game, not unless you buy 2 or 3 other books. And
Or you're creative, real creative.
that's why I like what Savage Worlds did. Is like, here's a book that concludes everything. Then we're going to come out with a book that helps you spin it for sci-fi, and a book that spin it for horror, and a book to spin it for fantasy, and a book to spin it for superheroes.
Here's a cartoon version. You could be cartoons.
Oh yeah, you could easily do a Scooby-Doo game. One I'd like to run again. It was at my wife's suggestion. We were going to a role-playing gathering, and I was the game master host, and I ran Savage Worlds. I ran the Warriors.
Nice.
Basically, you guys are in Central Park. You gathered there at the invitation of Cyrus with all the other gangs to hear him ask if you can dig it.
Can you dig it?
Yes. Can you dig it? And then all of a sudden, chaos. The police are coming in, the gangs are scrambling, and somebody is, the Warriors did it! Now you have to get back to Coney Island.
Mr. Steele.
There were a number of different obstacles that you had to come over, like the gang on the bus, the Lizzies, the baseball furies, the subway.
It's a long slog all the way back to Coney Island. What up, dude? You're turning into a snake right there on the camera. Are you Thulsa Doom?
No, he always wanted to be a bearskin rug when he grew up.
I guess. He needs to gain weight. He's going to do that. He's a good boy. Keep the pace moving. Build the suspense. Wandering monsters.
Yes, I don't do wandering monsters nearly enough. I should start doing them more.
I mean, it's an adventure. You got to pack it full with teeth and claws. To the brim.
Especially with Savage World. Savage World is really meant to be action-oriented. And I want you guys to start expanding some of the things you can do with, like, rather than just straight-up fighting, there are things called tests that you can do to, like, for instance, you've got an enemy and his parry is just too high. You can't hit him. You might be able to taunt him or do something else to distract him and get him to lower his defenses.
Well, that's what Clay was watching another guy who mixes psychology into his role playing, and well, yeah, dude, you need to do that, because how else are you going to motivate your players and confront them with their own fears in real life if not through metaphor? In like the way you orchestrated the fight in the bar was the analogy that we talked about, because it was very well done. You got the fire mage to react with really minimal effort as a dungeon master, and you let him not only do all the work but cause all of the chaos and push the story.
Yeah. Poor Nick says that I'm, a master at drawing him in. No, I just knew that he was more than willing to bite on something.
True.
I the way I expected it to play out, and it never goes that way, does it? The way I expected it to play out is, you guys come into the bar, you rub shoulders, you rub up against some enemies to set up future encounters. And it was
only, there were fireballs instead, and murder, and it was like,
and
then a mutiny, and then
you probably don't want to hear that assignment that Lazenby gave you to go steal that ship back.
Yeah.
would have been a mission that paid 20,000 gold pieces.
Well, I'm still planning on completing it. I don't know about the rest of the crew. I'm bigger than all of them, so there you go.
Well, there's some things you don't know going on behind the scenes.
There's lots of stuff I don't know about this
game. He had multiple reasons for sending you guys out to do this.
Good.
It's not even certain he's expecting you back.
Well, the best gaming sessions, the plot is a club sandwich, not peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter and jelly is great. We love it. It's peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. But a club sandwich is more intriguing. It goes farther. Hello, welcome, lava. And it's just a better setup to have this multi-tiered gaming story where your players are trying to solve who they're working for and who the bad guy is and who pulled the trigger and who was the getaway driver, and other than go here, go kill all those things, bring back the girl, bring back the magic box, bring back the MacGuffin, bring back the thing. Okay, fried PB&J is very good, yes, but you know what I mean.
Ooh.
You know what?
I haven't had fried PB&Js, but I've done Uncrustables in the air fryer.
Interesting. We call it the Signs syndrome. The movie Signs with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix, and because when the kids would ask an obligatory dumb question, it's that scene where Joaquin Phoenix is explaining, look, the reason the crop circles exist is because some guys don't have girlfriends, and then he goes off on this like 2-minute explanation of why the guys are doing it and what makes them losers. And then the little girl looks at him and goes, why don't they have girlfriends? It's like, oh my God, he just explained that! Would have had the PB&J. Never mind.
No, but there's lots of advice I could give, whether or not it's useful to a particular game master. You know, you've got to find your own way to do things.
Yeah, you got to find your rhythm. You got to find your way of. Some people are good storytellers. Some people are better with a plot. Some people, it's poker. Being a good DM is being able to lie, being able to play poker. You want to be the best poker player at the table. You're not going to win, but you want to be the best poker player at the table. You want to know what his hand is. You know what it's capable of. You want to know who's going to make the next bet, whether it's one of the players or one of the NPCs. It's playing the Dungeon Master is the hardest part of the make-believe session because you don't want it to turn into either Mother May I or Simon Says.
Yes. Now, I'd like to devote a little bit of time into what not to do as a game master. One thing, and I've seen a few game masters do it, especially in a small group, is the dreaded DM PC. You should never have an NPC in the party that's as powerful as the player characters. There are exceptions to the rules. Aunt B in our last Castles and Crusades session, but she was the MacGuffin that made the story go, and so she kind of had to be there. And I made sure she didn't dominate the story.
Yeah, she didn't show up till the end.
Yeah, no, because it wasn't supposed to be about her, saving your bacon. It was the other way around. Another thing, and I've seen a few game masters do this, is don't fuck with player agency. If a player builds a character and it's a by the rules character and he has an ability that annoys the fuck out of you as a game master, don't try to nerf that ability. Don't. Find a way around it. You allowed him to have it in the first place. Don't tell him he can't have it, and don't neutralize it, by manipulating gameplay.
Good advice.
If you know the game well enough, you'll know how to handle that situation. An example being, I ran a Star Wars game where it was all Jedi. Well, how do you keep Jedi challenged? Well, you give them a problem that a lightsaber can't solve.
Yeah, you do. You can't droid your way out of this one, can you? No.
I'm going to paraphrase a story that Kat told me, and that's she was playing in a Vampire the Masquerade game with 2 other player characters and a game master, and he was a clinic on how to be a bad game master. For one, about 4 sessions into the game, he invited 2 of his friends from a prior game in with their much more advanced characters. And all of a sudden you've got 2 new people in the game whose characters are like immensely more powerful. Then at one point, what ended up breaking it for her was, they were in a situation and, her character was put in an untenable situation and made a decision. And the game master said, your character wouldn't do that. What? No, you don't get to tell me how to roleplay my fucking character. You just don't. And that was the day she quit. She's like, no, hell no. And then, because he was a continuity freak, he kept trying to get her to come back to the game for one last session so he could kill the character off. She's like, no, I'm going to write fan fiction about my character outside of your game and maybe find someplace else to play it, but I'm done with you.
That's hilarious.
And,
that destroyed him.
Also, be willing to bend. Rule of cool. I don't always go with rule of cool, but sometimes rule of cool works. If somebody comes up with something that would just be cool to do, even if the rules say that, no. Sometimes you let it happen. Just because. Player characters like to win. You've got to let them have their wins. One of the early D&D games I ran, I had a villain, Sorrel of 12 Skulls Ranch. He was a mind flayer that ran a human ranch.
Oh God,
and of
that's
course,
terrible.
Yes, and he was also a high level mage, and so he was the main villain. And my characters hated him because every time he'd show up and things would start to go bad, he'd plane shift out, and so he just ran away. I eventually, I knew that if this goes on forever and they don't get to put him down, eventually they're going to lose interest in chasing him. So, yeah, I eventually, orchestrated where, all right, here's the big boss battle. You can beat him down. And that will reveal that he was working for something even more horrible.
That's a very good point. If I may, is there room on the soapbox?
Oh, yes.
Tom and Jerry and the Roadrunner and the Coyote and Pepe Le Pew and that poor cat. That's good story and that's funny on a cartoon. But just to reiterate, that just pisses players off. And they will find another game if you don't let them catch Jerry or the Roadrunner or because you can't. It's okay to have running gags. It's okay to have running villains. It's okay to have different iterations of that storyline going, but you have to let the players get the thing. Otherwise,
yes,
they won't want to play anymore. No, man, I'm busy today. I don't have time.
And that's, I see a lot of on Facebook on the Game Master forums, players complaining about this or that their Game Master did. Is like, well, from the player side, there are recourses you can take. The one thing you don't want to do is to pick a fight with the Game Master during the game, because all of a sudden you're not Nobody's gaming right now. You're arguing with the game master over stupid shit. Let it play out. Discuss it with the game master between sessions. Like with me, if you can explain why you thought something I did was, bad, I'll listen and I'll be objective. And if you make a good point, I'll change my opinion. You know, the game master who is never wrong won't keep players for very long.
No, nobody wants to play with
Especially
that
the
guy.
game master who likes to win. Who gets it into the
Who gets into the drama and everything? I mean, that's that nobody. There's so much drama, unless it's like storyline plot drama. Oh, the princess and the wizard. That's okay. But other than that, I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to listen to the wizard and the
No.
DM argue about spell rules, especially when I'm playing a barbarian and I don't even use spells.
This is why, as a game master, I'll say, here's the rule. I'm going to make a rule now. I don't know what the actual rule is. After the game session, we'll look up the actual rule. And if I need to go back and retcon something that happened, I'm the game master. I can absolutely do that. It's not a TV show or a movie. It's not a comic book or a book. It's a game.
Yeah.
And if we go change things.
And this is very important. Like if Izzy joins us, Rob, and now we don't want to show her that we're just a bunch of grown men fighting over make-believe on a Saturday when we could be doing anything else. It's a bad lesson.
Yeah, and that's something that really played well with her, was the fact that everybody that was sitting around that table we were exchanging, we were communicating, we were talking, we brought forward, okay, I have this idea, what do you think? And we moved through at a relatively good pace, but we also included her
Yes.
in that process. What do you think? You have a genuine dog in this fight. You need to be a part of this discussion, and that becomes a big part. When you've got a strong group and everybody plays well and they play off of each other, that works great, and they're willing to talk and discuss. And we had a number of newbies a couple of times, people who'd never played or only played once or whatever the case may be, and they jumped in, but they were brought in, and it was, well, what do you think? Okay, well, you've taken a liking, you've taken a shine to your character and what you understand about your character's traits and abilities, and if there's a question, we're working through it, we're answering that question, we're asking the game master what are the nuances here? Are there things that we should be more aware of when working with this character type for this player who's got a more limited experience set? And Rob was great about saying, no, that's a valid question. This is a great place to go. That's a good idea when you're going through and you're moving forward in this particular instance. Use those character traits. Use that ability score that you have. Carry it forward. Those are the things that make the gaming experience extraordinary for everybody. The new person, they all of a sudden they're beside themselves. I didn't get treated like I was a fish out of water, or nobody gave me a hard time. And everybody else is like, we had a great time. We got to share in this adventure. And I know in my own personal case, in watching them go through this the first time, it brought back fond memories of similar circumstances from way back when I was learning that, when I was going through it with others that were my age at the time. The shared experience is probably one of the greatest parts of tabletop role playing, with a good group of people and a great game master who understands that aspect of it, as well as running the game. So it becomes a part of the storytelling adventure. Rob had spoken to that earlier. Clay had mentioned it. You had mentioned it. Big part of this whole thing needs to be the storytelling, to bring in the psychology of it all. This is returning to the fireside. This is returning to the clan, getting together with the storytellers, the sages, to bring these tales out, and everyone gets to be a part of it. Everyone is playing the same movie in their head, but each time, each person's movie looks just a little bit different, and it's internal to them, and they have an even greater stake in the success of the game and the adventure.
Yeah. Well, because we talked about the progression of villains, how you want to kind of make a villain, and you don't want to make him too overpowered in the beginning, because combat and movement are turn-based, but the plot and the world that you're creating, it doesn't stop when the characters are doing something in the hallway. The demons and the devils are still fighting all of the good gods, and all this stuff is going.
That's a difficult thing to do as a campaign, is that, keeping track of the campaign moving forward with or without the characters. Like, all right, at a certain point, this is going to happen. If the characters are there when it happens, they can be part of it. If they're not, it's still going to happen. But,
Something I really enjoyed seeing was there were multiple people in each of the sessions that I was in who wanted to take notes. So there wasn't an official scribe as such, but everybody wanted to take notes. I need to remember that. I want to be able to kind of reference back to that. I want to pay attention. That showed me that there was a lot of buy-in from each of the players, that they were invested at this point. They wanted to know what was going on. They wanted to be a party to it. Even Izzy was taking notes. Antonio was taking notes. His friend that came on, the young lady that came to play with us when we were at Antonio's place,
Yeah.
she wanted to take notes. She wanted to be a part of it. She wanted to get into it a little deeper, and that was a great thing to see. That made me feel great to see the buy-in from everybody.
yeah, she surprised me how, from being a non-gamer type person coming in and just stepping right into the role, and
Just absorbing
falling right in,
great.
falling right in like she belonged. Yes, it was good to see.
Hope she comes back.
Well, she's certainly welcome.
Yeah.
Now.
But yeah, there's so many plot mechanisms at work while you're like, okay, you want to go shopping somewhere else next? Hurry up, we have things to kill.
That's why I don't like doing the shopping and stuff. Wait till the end of the session. Do your shopping then.
Shopping is a giant waste of time in gaming. It really is.
Yes, and I don't want to role play the shopkeep interaction. That's,
The problem.
if there were only 3 players, yeah, we could get off on that kind of thing.
Yeah, but
in a larger group, you got to keep it moving.
If there's 6 of you, fuck that, dude. You're just going to waste 2 hours. Or do what you did. Here's your ship. What do you want? It's already in there. Oh, okay. Because that tells the players, we're not going to do this. Because you think that you're doing a good thing.
This is not an important part of the story.
Yeah, to give them the interaction.
It's an important part of the game, but it's not an important part of the story, so it can be shined over.
Yes, thank you. Very well put. And that it's true. Because you don't want to waste time with your story playing, hello, I'm, for the Viva La Dirt Lake Greg, the garlic farmer. And then...
But...
2-hour shopping event. I mean, that's cool if you're rich and you're at the mall, but none of your players are rich. None of them.
No, and yeah, you can only be dealing with one player at a time while you're doing that. And, there is a way to break groups up into smaller groups and deal with them on a rotating basis. But when you get down to individual players, especially when we have a limited time frame, we play in the evenings during the week, so we have 3 hours. And that's why I don't dwell too much on how much is my character carrying. How much did I have to pay for that beer?
Yeah, 3 hours is not enough time to game, really. But
it's like,
hey, we got it. So,
but we got it, and there are a lot of things that if you're watching a movie about it, they're not going to go into all of the details.
True. And the classic, just here's what were my two. You're gonna fuck up two ways when you first DM your first campaign. You're gonna make two giant mistakes, and it's okay because they're brand new mistakes. Oh my God, what did I? Was right on the tip of my mind. What did I tell you, Clay? It's because it's out of, like, you're not used to doing it all the time. You're used to playing all the time. So when you have to think outside of the box of just yourself, of putting it all together, the first continuity things are going to get messed up. And that's okay, because you're usually, when you're playing and you're wanting to DM, and like this situation, dude, the other DMs and the other players are going to be really cool. They're not going to roast you because they're just happy to play. I'm not going to make fun of you for fucking up a rule or forgetting this or not doing that.
That's why. Now go ahead.
No, please add.
I was say that's why I, the way to do it. You don't know a rule, make up a ruling on the spot. All right, we're going to do it like this, and then after the game session, we'll look up the actual rule, and if the decision I made altered things in a way that breaks the game, we can go back and retcon. But that's why if you're got a problem with the way a game master plays, discuss it with him away from the table. If you can't come to an agreement, or he can't make you see things his way, you can't make him see things your way, leaving the game is always an option. If you're not having fun, don't encourage a game master to continue to do the things that you're not having fun doing. If other people are enjoying it but you're not, find a different game. Because the alternative is you can try to make the game master change, and you're going to ultimately end up making yourself unhappy and or sabotaging the game, which is something you never want to do.
That is true. But I mean, starting out, don't worry about making mistakes, because you're going to make them. You've never done this before. It's not familiar. And at first it's terrifying, but early on into the first session, you're like, you know what, you guys are right. This is actually pretty easy, because we're going to be the ones asking the majority of the questions. And that's something that brand new DMs forget, is that I have to do that, and I want to do this, and this is my story, and this is my bad guy, and this is that, and this is that. I'm going to get this, and we have to go into here. And okay, but let them ask the questions.
Yeah, one of the things that is hardest to balance is how much information to give the characters.
Ooh, yes.
If you give them too little, they're not going to really know what's going on. They're going to lose the thread, and they're going to be bored because they think they're just going through motions.
And lost.
If you give them too much, they're going to get lost in it and be confused. So, and that's something that I don't really have advice on how to be good at it. You just have to do it. And, the only problem I have is I make things up on the fly, and I don't always remember all of the things that I make up. But trust me, your player characters will remind you of all that shit you pulled out of your ass.
Clay, you got this. You were a stay-at-home dad with 4 small children for 14 years. You're used to making up answers that don't make up sense right there on the fly, and then having the people believe it, and then carrying on with the narrative. And is that's pretty accurate, Jingo? That's
Yes, that is extremely accurate.
But why? Because. But why?
And then what happened?
Well, but why? Because the peanut butter always sticks to the roof of your mouth.
But how come?
Because of the peanut butter trolls. You don't want to make them upset, so they gotta have jelly.
That's how we keep them away. And that's it. I mean, I'll go to my grave. It's the player's handbook and the DM's guide for a reason. You don't have to follow the rules.
And I would suggest before you run a game, read the game master's section of whatever game book you're going to play, because there's always good advice. Hell, I would suggest maybe read game master books from several different games, because some of the advice that they give in there isn't game specific; it's game general. The fifth edition Dungeon Master's Guide and the fourth edition Dungeon Master's Guide for D&D both have some very good general game master tips.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we can't remember.
I went through the Starfinder book that I have and came up with a list of these archetypes are flexible across both universes. You know, a tech mage, something like that.
Well, it's how do I be the best DM master, a dungeon master? Okay, how do you be the best parent?
You just have to.
Each kid is different. Each family is
different. Bear in mind that when you're a new game master, or if you're playing under a new game master, bear in mind that your game master is leveling up while you're leveling up. And that would be the main reason I would say start people with novice characters. If you don't want them to be novice for long, you can always step up, advancement to get them up higher, faster. But start off with the novice characters.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't, because you're going to have this grand design, and the odds are the party is going to fuck that up within 20 minutes, whether they mean to or not.
Be willing to let go of a story element and run in a different direction. It is. I will tell you, I am an improvisational game master because I used to be the write volumes of shit and then see a lot of it never get used because they go in a different direction. So I always, when I write that down though, there's always a chance to recycle it back in later. So it's like in Fantasy Grounds, I'll build up encounters just to have a stack of encounters. I have pirates at the ready. Encounter already drawn up. All I need to do is grab it and boom, we have pirates. Things like that. A few others. A town guard encounter. A random monster, a giant shark. Just have,
He's not wrong. You will, let's do hypothetical. The land of make-believe is endless. You're running your first Dungeons & Dragons campaign. You set up the plot. All you need is the characters to go north on this trail, up this road. That'll begin the entire campaign. But in your due diligence of trying to make the game exciting and suspenseful and amazing, you let too much misinformation out in the small village. Now these assholes spend 3 fucking months going east, south, and west and don't get to north until... But you have to be prepared for that.
So what you do in that situation is they needed to go north, but they decided to go east. Well, they needed to go east.
There you go. Another solution.
It's what I call, rather than railroading it, I call it the train depot method.
The
story is going here. You can get on over here. You can get on over here. You can get on over here. But you're going to end up there.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which train you get on. All the trains are headed to the same destination. And so that's why I'll have a handful of encounters, and depending on how it goes, I'll pull one or more of the encounters to kind of move you along. Let's get this train rolling. Let's see where it goes. But the train is rolling. And so, yeah, always be willing to redirect the characters and to loop them back around to where they want to go. It's an art form, getting characters to do what you want them to do while making them believe it was their decision.
Poker.
Your players sit down at the table, toddlers, so, and candy and cake,
You're
puppy
digitizing.
dog everywhere. So you get to have fun of herding the toddlers. They're looking at all the bright shiny, and then when it's over, they'll all become a.
We got most of that. You're digitizing.
Is that any better?
Yes. Can you
A
say
little
that
bit
again?
better. It's not quite like herding cats. It's more like herding puppies. They're all wildly enthusiastic, jumping around, yipping, biting, wagging their tails, and they'll all follow you, but they're still,
Puppies.
Yep.
rowdy and out of control.
Every adult, every player becomes a toddler when they sit down at the table because there's so many bright shinies. There's so many squirrels around. There's cookies over here and candy over there and puppies and kitties and anything else you can think of. And when the game is over and you close the book on that particular session, everybody becomes an adult again.
Yes.
That's a
Crimson
good
says he
analogy.
wants to start a game. All I've got to say about that is much props to anybody that steps to the Game Master screen. And the only way to do it is to just do it.
Yep.
Get up there and just, wing it.
It's easier to start games in sci-fi or dystopian like Shadowrun, Cyberpunk, all of your space games. It's also easier to get if you accidentally kill one of the players. It's easier to get the new person. I mean, because if you're playing D&D and they're on a dungeon crawl and the thief sets a trap off wrong and it kills the thief, now you've kind of got to make up cells down the hallway and put the new character there, or
I
wait till
always
they get
find a
to
way
a
to do
town.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I mean, if you're starting out, don't stress about that, but try not to kill the party. That's
Well, yeah, that all depends on what kind of game you want to run because there's different game masters and they run things differently.
yeah.
You want it to be an action based game where you know there's frequent conflict. Do you want it to be mostly role play where people are interacting and manipulating other people, um, or somewhere in between?
All of them. Oh yeah.
So, is there some sort of formula for, like, for instance, in our game on Thursday, you had, what was it, like 6 pirates, a pirate, not captain, but like mate,
Yes.
and you had the Kraken Mage, and the
Yes.
Kraken Mage brought out an elemental. So, was there a formula for there was this many of us, there was that many of them? This is a
There's
this
not
is
a hard and fast formula. Most encounters in Savage Worlds are written something like this: you have a wild card, then you have extras, and it'll say something like 2 extras per player character. So usually 2 extras per player character plus a wild card, will be an average encounter. You want to make it more challenging, add a second wild card. You know, the one that I threw at you had only half the pirates because the pirate force was divided between the camp and the boat. And so you didn't meet all the pirates. And so, in order to bring it back up to a challenging level, I added the Kraken Mage and gave him the ability to summon the elemental. I also added random crocodiles in the water that were an obstacle you would have to deal with, to balance it out. It's a judgment thing. And sometimes, as a game master, you realize that the encounter you're throwing at people is too much and they're going to be overwhelmed. Come up with some sort of narrative element that evens the odds. You know, I know that can be difficult, but you know,
So
For
for instance, pulling back, and instead of 3 crocodiles coming at the 2 guys, you only had 1 each.
yes.
Something like that. Okay,
Or like
I
when
get it.
the one crocodile died, the other crocodile decided, you know what? I'm not that hungry.
Yeah, I'm clearing out. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's another thing is put yourself in the minds when you're having your NPCs, whether they be, wild boars, a kraken mage, a dragon, a giant shark, whatever. It's got thought processes. Put yourself into its thought processes. Like a shark. Shark is an eating machine. It's going to move and it's going to eat. That's what it's going to do. But the pirates, that's why I could have automatically had all the pirates just come over and start attacking you, but a shot in the dark and chaos is going to ensue, and they acted chaotically because they didn't know what was going on. So always try to put yourself into the mind of your NPCs when they do their make their decisions. At this point, would the NPCs cut and run? There's a point at which, when it looks like the fight isn't going to be won, maybe, fanatic goblins and cultists and skeletons will fight to the death. But most people don't want to fight to the death. If given a choice to back out of a fight, at some point they will.
Okay, so what you did as the GM for these NPCs, the way you played it, was Sabarok messed with the torch, and these pirates are like, what the? And then chaos ensued.
Yeah, it was dark. They didn't know what was going on.
You totally
can't
skipped your awesome bird call. You don't always roll the best all the time. I mean,
okay. That was a.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so we were playing pirates, and I was on one side. All these pirates were on an island that had a palisade around it, and it's just for shits and giggles, really, because I'm kind of a silly guy. Phoenix Made a Clay on YouTube, plenty of silliness there. I decided I wanted to do a bird call, and I failed miserably. And the pirate said, "Oh, that's no kind of bird I've ever heard," or something like that. But now, what would have happened if I had actually been able to persuade that pirate that it was an actual bird or a monkey or whatever?
Oh my goodness! Okay, yes.
It would have, because I believe you did that in response to one of the players failed a stealth roll, and the pirates took notice. So you made the bird call as a distraction. Had you succeeded on the roll, it would have worked. The pirates would have gone back to what they were doing, and you could have gotten into position. But, I gave the pirates a roll, and one of them, his die roll exploded, so he noticed. And that's why savage worlds be savage, yo.
Hey, I like that while it was silly role play, that it kind of wasn't at the same time.
It worked.
Phoenix Made of Clay on YouTube for more silliness. Like and subscribe.
Crimson says he only experienced death on a random one-shot for a game called Daggerheart. I got to play this game a couple months back. Daggerheart is the role-playing game made by the Critical Role people. I don't know if you are familiar with who Critical Role is.
Yes.
They are a group of actors and comedians and writers who do a D&D podcast. I would call it a game, but it is more than a game. It is a TV show. It is a performance.
It's funny.
It is very entertaining. It is not a representative of what a typical D&D game is like. So,
not really, no.
because if you're lucky enough to play with professional actors and writers, and let's be real, Critical Role is a TV show.
Yeah.
They have a wardrobe budget. They have makeup artists.
Yeah, they do.
They have a set.
The
And,
tiefling looks like a tiefling.
even though they're actually playing the game, as with improv comedy, and Bill can attest to this, you don't just go out there cold. You have a plan. You have a basic outline of a narrative before you go into it.
You couldn't be more correct. I mean, yes, I like to cause chaos and fun in games, but there's always, I can never go against the plot of the DM. That is player suicide. And if you screw up the entire story and the entire game for all the other players, you are not going to be a very popular person at that table. It's just not going to happen. As funny as you think you are, dude.
Yeah,
Support the scene is the first rule of improv. Support the scene. Unless you have a really, 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 really good idea, support the scene. That was 5 reallys, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
It deserved at least 5 reallys. So, anyways, to my point was, even though they're playing, a live play, I know that they have a discussion before the session about where they intend for it to go and how they intend for it to play out. Not, rehearsed and linear, because a lot of it's still improv. They're comic actors and writers, so this is what they do.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that it's entirely gone into blind. I believe they have pre-session huddle about, this is what I intend to do as a game master. This is what I expect from the player characters, and then just turn it loose and see what happens.
They probably follow an outline like street improv characters do.
Yes.
So that you're not pissing each other off.
I'm certain they do. But Daggerheart was a game written by these people.
Oh, right on.
And it works slightly different than D&D in that as a character, you have your basic character class, and rather than have individual powers, you have cards. And cards, will give you a number of powers. And as you go up in level, you earn more cards. And then between game sessions, if you have this hand of cards, you can decide which ones you play. So your character can shift between game sessions as you decide, I'm not playing this card this time. I'm playing this one instead. And as your characters go up in level, you get more cards, which gives you more versatility. And I would imagine the ability to play more cards at once. I only played a couple of game sessions, and we had a lot of fun.
I could check it out. So Critical Role is fun to watch. Ed's really into them.
Yes. Yeah, no, that is the one thing I have with Critical Role, is that people that their only exposure to D&D is watching that. They think that's what D&D games are, that everybody dresses up and speaks in character voices. No, it's not like that.
Well, sometimes, but those are
It can
usually
be,
rare.
Every time I see a D&D game portrayed on a TV show, the one thing I see is that all the players are dressed up.
Yeah.
I have never once ever been to a D&D game where the players dressed up, unless you count being in the SCA.
See that if you're SCA or Ren Fair, that doesn't count.
That's a different game altogether.
Yeah, that's a lot more
for the people in the SCA. You probably don't want to hear this, but the SCA is LARP.
Yes, it is. Ren Fair's LARP too. I'm a paid actor.
Yes, Ren Fair is absolutely LARP, but yes.
For the customers, it is all day long. We love you out there. Thank you for coming out and spending your money. Come see us at the Pirates Plunger. This
The only difference between SCA and Ren Fair really is
Steel.
you have less general public at an SCA event. Not none, but fewer of the general
far
public.
less.
You're playing less to the general public at an SCA event. You still have the complete extreme. You have those that are out there to have fun for a particular aspect of the SCA event, and those who are strict recreationists, and they go to the absolute nth degree, and then you have the entire spectrum in the middle. And so at the Ren Fair, you have a similar conglomeration, the difference being that those who are a little more who are less into the recreation aspect of it tend to be the people coming in, people who are visiting, the people who are working there. You have a certain level that you have to be a party to, but it's not as strict until you get to some of the very deep recreation conglomeration that exists. But that's a minority within the Ren Fair group as well. The point is it's an experience. You're selling someone an extraordinary experience to come out and have that opportunity and that make memories. In the SCA, we're all pitching in and we're all taking a part of it, but we're doing it to whatever it is that we're hoping to get out of it.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with that 100% because I've never been to the war, but I've been to lots of fighter practices, and there's still the houses there. There's still fighting there. What the hell is going on in the kitchen? Why are they yelling? Cats, man.
Well, you heard STA? They're having a war.
Apparently, the cats are divided into houses. House Steel, what is your problem? Last night it was Venus. Tonight it's Steel. Don't worry, Venus will start screaming soon. It's just going to happen.
Recently, we've had a return to the live steel as well. Within the last 10 or 15 years, live steel has come back. It's not as much in the SCA, but there is actual live steel, for lack of a better term, MMA programs around the United States and in Europe. Really took off in Europe.
It's big in Europe.
Really?
Yeah, and it has come here. And in fact, there are groups now that study and teach traditional fighting styles from throughout the Middle Ages, Renaissance fighting styles, earlier Dark Age fighting styles, and things like that. There's a group here in Phoenix that does it. So it's really kind of come full circle, because when I first started in the SCA, they were taking away a lot of the live steel activity. And the live steel groups were very much involved in the recreation and the accuracy from the standpoint of safety.
Yeah.
We had to be careful, because you've got somebody with a 3.5 foot two-handed, Zweihander, and they're coming around with, you can't have somebody doing a full swing on somebody else, even if you are wearing 12 gauge armor with padding. You're not walking off that field if somebody's taking a full strike on you. Like,
they'll break your arm.
Yeah.
Come on,
if they're coming at you with rattan, you're a little better, but live
rattan
steel
flexes the way steel won't, and it doesn't have the heft.
You had to go through a lot to be allowed on the live steel field, and you had to have people that would absolutely stand there and say, yes, I have worked with this person, and if he acts up, I'll be the first one to bulldog him and drag him off.
It's two different worlds. I mean, Ren Fair is an amusement park. It functions like an amusement park. It's got a staff.
It's an entertainment venue.
It really is. There isn't, I'm going to go and do this. Or you're a pirate shop, so I can steal everything. Do you go into the, Home Depot with the same mentality? How long does that last? It's Home Depot. Arr. No, dude. What are you doing?
Yep.
So you could try, but then I'm going to jump on your ass,
As an SCA person, we used to enjoy going to Ren Fair years and years ago, because there were times when it became kind of an invitation thing. So the Renaissance Festival here loved to have a controlled group of SCA folks to come out and do a recreation and to sit down and say, now we'll walk you through.
Yeah, they had to.
We'll do this, and that was always great. That was a lot of fun.
But that was pre-approved and all that. You can't just go and we're mercenaries for the king. It doesn't work that way.
No, that was great because that built a little bit of camaraderie. Because there were times when you would get Ren Fair folks that would come out to the war because they wanted to see it. They heard about it. There were Ren Fair folks that would come out to the wars because they could buy costume components out there that were extraordinary, and the pricing sometimes was a little bit better than going through a commercial house somewhere.
Do you know where most of my wardrobe for the first 10 years of my SCA life came from?
Goodwill.
Going to thrift stores and looking through the women's clothing racks.
Exactly.
I found a puffy red pirate shirt that I rocked forever in the women's clothing rack. It had the puffy sleeves and the frilly cuffs and the lace down the front. It was a swashbuckler shirt, and
that and
thrift stores, and it was $2.
And we had SAS here in Phoenix, which was incredible because you could go and, like Rob said, you could go and find the most incredible outfits. And fashion is very cyclical, and in this case, it is cyclical over thousands of years, ladies and gentlemen. So you could find things that very quickly became what you wanted them to be in your SCA event. And so it worked out very well. They were extraordinary opportunities. I don't know how many people I know made Renaissance waistcoats and tailcoats by finding things in the thrift store and then going to SAS and saying, well, this matches, and I can add this and go here and buttons and that. And for $25, you're in something that somebody looked at and said, where did you buy that?
I have to say this, and the guy was very nice, but it was the weirdest encounter I had ever experienced. So I go to the storage unit that my parents have had a storage unit at since the 80s, and in fact, they still have the storage unit, and, this is 30, no, I had the kids. This is 20-some years ago. Pull up, and I'm unloading, and I look over, and there's a dude, and he's around my age, and he's unloading, he's doing what we're all doing. He's putting a bunch of stuff into his storage unit, using the little trolleys and everything. But I notice immediately he's got Ren Fair clothes on. I mean, the pants are unmistakable. Those are pantaloons. They're not normal pants. You can't just buy those. And I mean, some sweatpants kind of look like them, but it's not the same. And the shirt, like you said, a blousy woman's shirt. So I'm like 3/4 of the way done, and we just happen to be right there at our vehicles and everything. And I look over at him, and his hair's all loose, and he's just doing his own thing. Hey, how you doing? Need any help? No, I'm okay. Okay, cool. So, Ren Fair or SCA? And he just looks at me, and he goes, what? I go, Ren Fair, or are you in the SCA? You mean like the Renaissance Festival? I don't know what the other one is. Yeah, you're wearing clothes like you work at the Renaissance Festival, or you belong to the SCA. Totally getting the SCA vibe from you. No, I just like the way they feel. Okay, I came down the elevator.
This is his own fashion trail.
Yeah, I came down the elevator and ended up in a different dimension. I'm just gonna go with this. Okay, really, you should. Wednesday night fighter practice. They fight. Oh my. Okay, because I've got like one of the kids with me. I think I had youngest child or oldest. One of the two children was with me, so it's not like. Yay, yeah, So now I'm trying to get away because I don't have time to explain this or steer you in the direction for your true, because you've probably been made fun of a lot or been given a lot of shit. I'm probably the most honest person that's asked you why your fashion sense is 500 years out of date. And I'm not even going to bring up Dungeons and Dragons because I won't be able to leave after that. I could just feel it. So it's like, another time, same storage unit. I'm literally unloading my drum kit into the storage unit. Hey! What? You play drums? No, I just have drums just for fun. Yes! Oh my God. Oh, I play bass. Oh, when I'm trying to put a band together, I can't find anybody. When I've given up, there's, Les Claypool Jr. trying to make, and he's like in his truck yelling at me. It's not like he's already done. Anyway, yes. Ren Fair and SCA. Do one of them just to have the experience. Is it possible? Can you get paid doing the SCA? Is that? I'm sure.
Yeah, as merchants and the like, Little John made probably half of his annual money going to SCA events across the country.
Oh, okay.
Because
you mean, are there jobs in the SCA?
Yeah, hold on.
No.
I should have rephrased that question. That's on me. Sorry.
The SCA royalty typically ends up paying a lot out of pocket
For everything.
to support their kingdom over the next year. So it's not. There's a reason not a lot of people choose to be the king and queen, because it's a financial and social burden that not everybody's willing to take on.
Yeah, some of the kingdoms have made themselves nonprofits, and some of the wars were able to make themselves nonprofits so they could at least cover costs.
Yes.
You get a lot of volunteers and things like that. You're charging for everybody coming in for the event. You're charging for anybody who's going to be a merchant or be a participant or coming in for the day. Everybody is paying something, but usually, to Rob's point, there's not much of it's not a cash cow. There's not much of an opportunity to make money. The hope is that you cover costs for the event, and then you take up a collection within your kingdom to cover your costs for when you're going to do things throughout the year.
Yeah. So this year, well, here's a perfect example. Ren Fair's different. So if you go out there and did the same thing myself, I love it out here. This is great. This is completely immersive, fun LARPing. And you go and you talk to performers and actors and merchants, and they tell you, well, the auditions for Street Character in September. I can't remember when the auditions for stage acts are, but they're the total different. They're in like the spring. They're like at a totally different time than the street characters. Because anybody, pretty much, as long as you have talent, you can be a street character. Whether you play violin or harp, or I did it with juggling and terrible jokes and a really bad multiple English accents. And anyway, but you can. So Cece wasn't able to work for the whole season, and we were a person short. And Jess, I'd really love to work in the shop. Careful what you wish for. And really, do you want to work here? Like, really work here? Because this is like a job. It's not like any of this is different. Oh, I've always wanted to work at Ren Fair. Go talk to Frenchie. I'm a worker. I don't have any, I love these guys. I've been their friend for 35 years. But they're, they own, the two of them own the ship. And their crystal cast dice. They know Larry Elmore and Tracy Hickman and everything. They go to all the conventions. So, the Han Dynasty Scholar in the SCA, right on. But the SCA doesn't sound like Ren Fair, where you're like, I like this shop, I want a job here. Really? My other person can't make it. Can you show up next weekend and come in costume? I need you to be here at 8. I need all your information. I got to clear you in at the office. You need a pass. Because it's a compound. You can't go anywhere without showing 5 people your pass. I haven't. When I was out there from 91 to 2000, 2015. Everybody knew who the hell I was. I showed my pass because it was a formality. I took 11 years off. Nobody knows who the hell I am. I'm a stranger. I have to show my pass to all these different people because that's just the way the place has changed in all the time I've been gone. It's a lot more regimented than it was now, but it's still a walk-in, get hired on the spot because it's only going to be on the weekends, and it's only for 9 weekends now. And then they pack it all up and...
Depending on where the SCA event is taking place, wherever the war is happening, the big one, if I remember correctly, the big one is still Penzic, and I think that's 2.5 weeks in the Midwest. The one that we have here is usually officially 3 days, but usually there's 5 days of time that people come out.
The Australia War was always a week-long event for us. We would be out there early in the morning on Monday, the week before, and camp there all week. Yep. It was a week-long event. It went Monday to Monday for us.
Monday to Monday.
And it was always around Valentine's Day, and it was always around the winter. It
was always on President's Day. We made the mistake of one year. Me and my buddies showed up in our truck to what we thought was the war on Valentine's Day weekend to find out it was the following weekend, President's Day. So yes, we ended up going out to this campground called Buckeye Hills and having our own private war that weekend.
Our own private war.
Oh yeah. In the SCA, there are households and kingdoms that will host their own private events in between the wars. We used to have, Rob, what do we have? We had 3 wars here. One was Australia, was the big one. And then we would have one up in
the Great Southern War.
Yeah, and there would be one.
And then I forget the name. The one up in Flagstaff had a cool name. I forget what it was.
Yeah, and those were usually regional. Those smaller ones were just regional. Australia was a national. So you would get people from all over the country showing up. But Penzic was always the big one that everybody wanted to go to. If you could afford to go, you went to Penzic, but that was a trudge. You caravanned out there with your whole group. You put up your stuff and you caravanned back home. And if you were going to work at the event, vendors, depending on who the vendors were, often would hire people locally for things like some of the food vendors, but it would be through word of mouth because you knew this person was going to have a food vendor there. The other vendors that had been set up, they set up months in advance, and they would always bring their own people, or they might hire a friend of a friend or a friend's kid when they came to the war. Hey, I need you. Can you work my booth? I'll pay you this much to work at in my booth for the event. So that's more kind of it's more the carnival family friendly, or the carnival family group in that aspect. Otherwise it was a vacation, and for those that were young enough but over the legal age, it was also an opportunity to get absolutely blotto.
Well, yeah.
Saturday night, and then recover on Sunday so that you could make it home either Sunday evening, or for those who could do it, you stayed over until Monday and hauled your happy butt home.
Yes, that's what it was us. We were the people that, we showed up every year to party.
Yep.
We didn't really fight. We didn't really participate in any of the other stuff. Hiccups. We showed up to party. And
I was part of Rolling Thunder. And because I was a medic, I got to be medic out there. So it became less fighting for me and more helping to recover all of the fighters, because
heat stroke.
Because you would have Friday night would be the evening of debauchery, and both days we mustered before sunrise on Saturday morning, and then battles took place all day Saturday, and then there'd be another big battle on Sunday. And so it was a matter of, all right, who is still alive and who do I have to resurrect? And the saving grace was I never brought IVs or anything like that because I wasn't going to plug anybody in out there, but I brought electrolytes and everything else, and I got to, okay, it's 5 a.m. I've made biscuits and gravy. Get your happy ass up, and now I'm going to get you prepared so you can be out on the field.
My secret to drinking in the SCA was have a drink, have a glass of water.
There you go.
Have another drink, have another glass of water.
It's Arizona for
and
you.
Always take 3 or 4 aspirin right before you go to bed so that when you wake up hungover, at least your head doesn't hurt.
Yeah, you just feel gross. You don't have a pounding headache.
So my Ren Fair story, I was safety services. So I was, security guards. So we were finders of lost children, okay, and directors to privies. Really, that was the depth of our job. The bartenders out there had a handle on people that they had a little bit too much to drink. They would make a suggestion, why don't you get something, there's right next door, you want something to eat right here next door, you can order it, you already waited in line, you want Scotch eggs right here. And they would suggest rehydrate, get some water. They had a real good handle on things. They were in communication with one another. So when somebody was cut off, they were cut off. We didn't even know about it. Any kind of security issues, and the Pinal County Sheriff took care of it. So really, we were just there to find lost children.
Yes.
And I never even attempted any kind of an accent, any kind of a voice, any kind of an act, because if you're a lost kid, you don't need that crap. If you're a lost parent, you don't need that crap either. I had fun with privy runs, but
yeah.
Out of all of that, what my one talent was that we carried a 12-foot flagpole made out of 2-inch dowel with a great big flag on top of it, a yellow flag with a red cross. I was able to balance it on my chin, and like 5-10 seconds, so other than striding around purposefully all swave and deboner and carrying a flagpole, that was pretty much it. So, but I met a whole lot of characters out there. That's a story for another time.
Yeah,
that's a story for another time. Bill knows the story.
Yeah.
So
we met a lot of really cool people 30 years ago. We're meeting cool people now, so that's the best part of it. Are you guys tired? Everybody's.
I am just about there. 4 o'clock is where my today started, and 4 o'clock is where my tomorrow starts.
I had a good interview, so I didn't sleep last night because I was all anxious and paranoid about not. But so far, the interview's good. Passed the drug test. Well, all you're going to find is THC. Sorry, I'm boring. But to today's standards, 30 years ago, that was the devil's lettuce, the jazz cabbage. Oh, plugs. Body and Soul Candles. Get ready to order your candles now. Christmas, Thanksgiving, right around the corner. Best gifts ever. Who's next?
I'll go. So I'm Phoenix Made of Clay on YouTube and on Twitch, but Twitch is just right now just a mechanism to get everything on YouTube. Check me out. I'm silly. I do all sorts of different kinds of stuff. You want me to show you how to do something I know how to do? I'll be happy to do that for you. It takes a village, and we are all members of that village, and we are all also children. Much love to you guys for watching. Thank you. Next.
I'll go next. I have been Jingo the Fool. You catch me here every Tuesday night. I'm running my mouth with my friends. I will make a genuine effort this Thursday to have my broadcast software up and ready to go so that we can start streaming our 50 Fathoms Thursday Savage Thursday stuff. totally out of control there. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know where we're going, but we have a lot of fun and tell some fart jokes, and it's just a good time. And this Sunday, I will not be on the air with the Real Woman of Gaming, but the following Sunday, I will be back. We skipped this last Sunday because a couple of the players had life. And life first.
Life is a 4-letter word.
Life is
Life
a 4-letter
be life,
word.
and
Or and I don't know if John Lennon is the originator of this quote, but I've heard it from him. Life is what happens while you're making other plans.
Yep.
Very apropos.
The blacksmith and mentioned the irrigation. They have put a bunch of their merchandise on sale this month. They are working to move some new merchandise, and money that they collect through merchandise helps to costs of in supporting families of fallen wildfires and families of severely wildland fighters. If you have an opportunity, check them out online, the Eric Marsh Foundation. And if you can donate, if you want to buy a shirt or a hat, they're happy to have it. Every dollar goes to a great cause.
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's Food Bank. I haven't been able to do that the last couple of months because of the arthritis, but the Scottish Rite is down there once a month, every month, and they are helping to pack boxes for those in need throughout the state of Arizona. So if you have an opportunity and you can donate canned goods, any kind of foodstuffs, a few dollars, or if you can give of your time, they are more than happy. They have operations throughout the valley, and there are food banks throughout the state that they work with who could all use your assistance.
We may or may not be changing the night. It all depends on whether or not I get this new job. We'll keep you posted. And then we don't. Hopefully, we don't know. They haven't released when next month's thing at 19th Avenue and Bell. The tables,
yeah, yeah, the Gamers Guild.
Gamers Guild.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Other than that, episode 78. Thank you and for watching. You could have watched anybody, but you decided to watch us, and we're really, really happy for that. Thank you for tuning in to the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. Stay geeky. It's 100% pure barf, folks. You're going to love it.
Have a good night.
Absolutely. Gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody.
Always a pleasure. Good night. Good night. Good night. Thank you. Thank you.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
gentlemen.
Good night.
Have a good one.